Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Endless Growth Podcast.
Yeah, welcome back. Today's episode is 110.
Yes, it is, man. And we have a special guest on today. We have Jeff here.
Welcome, Jeff.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
Ever since I met you, I was like, Jeff's got to be on the pod one day. You have like a, I don't know, personality of like, some more people got to see this.
Yeah.
Get to know you, so.
Oh, well, hey, geez, that's great. I thought I was more annoying than anything.
No, I agree. I've met you like maybe 20 minutes ago, and yeah, super cool. I like a cool guy, so yeah.
Well, I appreciate that, guys, for sure.
Yeah, of course.
But no, seriously, thanks for having me.
No, of course, yeah. So I guess we'll tell people a little bit about you, of what you do. So I came across, I guess the way we ran into each other is where you came in, actually into my shop.
Yeah.
Looking for some ceramic coating, and then is that what it was, or paint correction? Oh, it's because your truck got overspray all over it.
Well, that just happened between the time that I set it up with you and the time that we need to have you come in. But yeah, for sure. Really? The reason that, it was Brett that actually referred me to you.
Yes.
So as a friend of mine, and I guess a customer of yours, that actually referred me because I was out at his house, and anyway, I noticed some stuff on my truck, and he's like, "Oh man, you got to take it over to Edgar. He's right by you."
Yeah, literally.
And I'm like, "Really?" So anyway, but from the time I had set it up with you, and by the time I finally brought it in, there was overspray that came on, but we were going to do paint correction, ceramic coating.
Okay. I thought it was prior. That makes sense.
No. It actually, that was more fortuitous in between.
I guess it worked out.
It worked out well. It worked out very well for me. Not fortuitous, I got the spray, but fortuitous that it happened before.
Yeah.
If it was going to happen.
Yeah. And since then, I guess, it just became a customer after we did your coating, and we were happy with it. And seems like we did a good job, right?
Oh, man, maybe. Absolutely. You're like,
I don't know.
You're like a little magician over here, actually, I think.
Cars come in one way and come out the other way.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So you did the one car and then the next one, and
All right. And then I guess to put people on, so you have a shop here behind mine, which is literally a couple, like you were saying, you could throw a football literally from your shop and mine. I guess tell the people a little bit of what it is that you do, and a little about yourself.
So a little bit. The shop is we're just a machine shop over there. We actually do anything from onesie twosie pieces, so one or two, or all the way up to 20, 30,000 pieces. We kind of dabble in all sorts of different industries, but a lot of the stuff that we've done is for automated machinery. We do some medical, we do some recreational things. But yeah, we do a lot of cool things over there. At least I think they're cool.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, I walked through there and just seeing the machines, and it kind of brought me back to high school, and we would take machine class, and Alex here has a little more background in machining himself. So, but it was cool.
Yeah. So that's weird because I never had machining class. Like we didn't have that stuff back then. We had auto or wood shop or jewelry making. We didn't have anything that was like machining. We did have some welding, but I never took it. I never got into it for some reason. So it was kind of weird to. It's kind of a weird way I even ended up doing what I'm doing.
Yeah,
got you. So did you enter it, I would assume through like the workforce? You got a job and then that's how you got introduced to it, or how did you start machining, I guess?
Yeah, so I actually got a job. What actually happened was, it was actually back in 2003. I actually moved down into Provo, in with my grandparents, and I got a job down at a company in Spanish Fork. And I was actually dating my wife back then, so she was my girlfriend then. And so moved away, and I was actually going to go into the apprenticeship program that they had in there. And as soon as it came time for me to go and sign up for that, they actually said, "Oh, we had done away with that apprenticeship program." And this was literally like 5 weeks, 6 weeks after I had actually started there. So that made me think, okay, I'm away from like my stomping grounds, right? So I'm away from my roots, and ironically, Brett, who got me introduced to you. I had met him for dinner when I had come up over the weekend, and I told him what was going on. He says, "I think that we need somebody where we're at." And he worked at a local job shop here. So anyway, I went in and of course I don't have any machining experience, and I started it with them actually just being a purchaser, expediter, scheduler, stuff like that. I never did do any machining. So, it's like I said, it's kind of weird how I ended up actually getting into it,
And Brett, you guys just grew up together? You knew him as a friend, or?
Yeah. So Brett and I would say probably around junior high is when we first got introduced. Cool. Just going to school together. I'm sure Brett would tell you he couldn't stand me back then. And Brett's more of this, a quiet. He's more quiet, super, super good guy. And I think we probably became friends, much better friends, I would say, in high school. So sophomore, junior, and senior year, just running around having trucks and blazers. And I think that's kind of what got us, I would say, probably where we started hanging out a lot more.
The truck scene, all that stuff.
Yeah, just lifted blazers, stuff like that. So,
and then from there, I guess, what's the next step from there?
What's the next step from there
to get you to where you're at now?
That's.
Did you hop around other different jobs, or
no? So I stayed with them. So that would have been in 2003, and I ended up. So it was September of 2003 when I started there working with them. Kind of got a feel for the industry and kind of what was going on. And I would say I was 33, and there was a lot that has kind of built up from there. I don't want to say a lot of empty promises has kind of ended me where I'm at, which is the best thing that probably could ever happen to me, to be honest with you. So I finally, probably the last year that I was working there, still never really machining anything or having any machining experience.
Wow.
Ended up deciding to take the plunge, and a lot of it was my wife. I can't say enough there. Honestly, she's the one that really was, that believed in me when I didn't believe in myself to go out there and do it. And ended up buying a machine and not knowing how to run it or turn it on or do anything like that. And it was actually being shipped out of Indiana, and I still didn't even, it was on a truck, and the truck driver's like, "Where am I going?" I just said Ogden, Utah. I had no idea where I was even going to put it yet. Luckily found a place, and I had met Aaron, Ashley, who's a business partner of mine. I had met him when I worked at the previous job. He had left, gone on to other things. Reconnected with him, told him what the plans were, and he said, "I'm all in." And so then from there, that's kind of where it started. I want to say March of 14 is when we kind of got started. I think I need to back up here. March of 14, I had contacted Aaron, told him what the plan was. He was all in, and he had a small, and I wish he has pictures of this, and I wish we still had it, but it was just this small 3-axis CNC. It was a hobby mill, and I was able to bring in some work, and we were able to make these teeny little pieces on this thing. And this machine sat on his garage floor at 2 a.m, right? Where they're running these teeny little pieces, trying to just make a go of it. And then finally ended up buying the first machine. And catch us back up. Bought the first machine that arrived September of 2014. And so Aaron, actually, I learned a lot. I learned a lot through just like on the job training. So, which is kind of a crash course on learning things.
Wow. So you kind of just learned just by literally watching people do it, and obviously doing it yourself as well, right? I mean,
Sure.
Yeah. That's kind of the same thing for me, though. I mean, I've kind of never really ever took a course. People always ask me, like, there are classes for this stuff, and I'm like, there is, but it's just like you can do just as much on YouTube and learn a lot of it, and it's kind of just trial and error, really.
Yeah, it's a lot of.
Well, I don't know about those big machines because you could probably mess some things up with those.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can definitely. I mean, you can crash. You can program them to, crash into themselves for sure. But yeah, I would say that, the things that used to take me 4 or 5 days to do probably take me, some things maybe 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it was a long haul. It seems like in many ways, it seems like it was yesterday. And in many ways, it seems like it was 30 years ago.
So it's a little bit over 10 years now?
Just over 11.
Oh, 11.
Yeah. March 14th of 2014
Wow.
is when I got a business license to get going.
Oh, wow. So you just randomly bought a mail from somebody and said, let's do something with this?
I bought a brand new one.
Oh, brand new one.
Yeah, so I bought a brand new one. So that's what's even more ironic is bought a brand new one. Aaron, like I said, I worked with Aaron for probably, I would dare say 18 months. And then the company that we actually worked for was actually owned by 3 brothers. And the 3 brothers, there were 2 brothers that kicked the other brother out, and it kind of dissolved. The 2 brothers ended up bringing me back, and Aaron had moved on. He moved on to many, many different things, greater things too. And so when I called him and he came in, he to be honest with you, originally he was just there to help. So, and something about Aaron is, man, his, like no matter what, his heart is always in the right place. And so for him, he was willing to come in and help. So, and that was originally how it started. And ironically enough, I mean, there were times I'd be there till 3, 4 in the morning. And Aaron would be there right there with me. So he had a job that he worked in Salt Lake. And he had to be there at like 6 in the morning. So he would leave. This is how our life was back then. He would leave our shop, which at the time was my shop. He would leave, drive down to Salt Lake to his job, maybe sleep 45 minutes to an hour in the parking lot real quick in his car. Go and work 8-10 hours there, and then I would do the same thing, and then we'd reconnect back at Elite Machine around anywhere between 5 to 7 at night, and then do that again, and then sometimes go home, catch 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and then working 40 to. I mean my personal longest shift straight is 46 hours straight. Oh my God! Yeah. But I would do that 2 or 3 times, in a week.
It wasn't just
and then sleep for
thing.
6. No, then sleep for, about 6 hours and then get up and do it again. But like I said, something that used to take me, 4 to 5 days to do now would probably take me 45 minutes to an hour. So back then, bidding things out, I couldn't bid it out for 4 or 5 days worth of work. I'm never going to get any work. So it was.
Yeah, that was one thing I was going to ask, if you guys kept your full-time jobs or worked full-time starting it up. And it sounds like you guys did. So
we did. We did until, and then I think February of 15, March of 15. The machine shop that I actually worked at, I ended up working myself into like sales, customer relations, and stuff like that. But I didn't want to be doing what I was doing. I didn't want to moonlight in a sense Elite Machine, and it was just too much of a conflict of interest for me. So I ended up getting a job at one of our customers. So I went and started there, worked there, helped them through a project for about 6 or 8 months while moonlighting Elite Machine. They knew I was going to be temporary. Very grateful for them, very grateful for everything I learned, and grateful for the fact that they gave me the chance. They knew what I was doing. That's actually the place where I actually was able to finally put the machine to tell the truck driver where to drive for the first one. Anyway, and then I want to say it was May of 15 is when Aaron finally finally quit his thing, and along the way I had asked him, if he wanted to be a part of it, and he said no, and then he said, and I asked him if, I don't know how long in between the first and second time, but obviously some time. He said, and I said, hey, do you want to be a partner in this? And he says no. And I want to say it was in January or February of 15. And I just said, I approached him again. I said, hey, I'm not going to ask again because, and I said, do you want to be a part of this? And that's when he said yes. And one thing too, I wanted him to be a part of it because while he's staying till 3, 4, 5 in the morning, I didn't pay him a dime. So
damn, that's
when
wild.
I say his heart's always in the right place, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
He was there to be a part of it, to help me start Elite Machine and be successful, which is why I really wanted him to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's very fortunate that it's worked out the way that it's worked out.
Damn.
We've been but 11 years later, we're still, if we work 12 hours a day, we feel like, no shit, that's only a half day,
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. I always tell Alex, I'm like, I think a perfect day for me would be like if I had 48 hours. I feel like I could barely get
it done.
Yeah, get done what I need to and then still have enough time for myself.
Right.
But obviously that's impossible. But that's
but would you trade it for anything?
No.
Would you trade it to go
I mean,
back?
I was here till 4 a.m. last night. Speaking of 4 a.m., went home, slept for a couple hours and came back again. But
right.
It's
right.
It's just part of the game. But I still wouldn't, like you said, I wouldn't trade it for nothing because it's like to go, to be behind someone again and have someone be kind of just on my ass. And I don't know, I don't think I can come home and not do nothing like how a regular 9 to 5 would be. I would want to start doing something again, and then I'd probably fall back in the same spot. So where I'm starting a business and I'm working part-time on my business and then full-time there. And yeah.
But before you started it, how long have you been doing this?
Going for 6 years now.
6 years?
Yeah.
Congrats. That's awesome. Because it's, the first 2 seem to be the most difficult. Yeah. At least that's how it was for us. But do you think that you could ever go back doing anything for anybody else? Like, could you see yourself doing anything different? Because you're here till 4 a.m. This morning, but I guess if Friday rolls around at noon and you kind of feel like you got a grasp on things, well,
just tape on out of here.
Yeah, take on off. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And my upcoming was kind of the same as yours, where I was still working full time at the body shop. And then doing this, I would literally get out there at 5 or 4, go home, grab something to eat, come back here at 5, meet someone here at 5, dropping their car off. Luckily, everybody, it worked out for everyone because everybody would get off 5 that usually had appointments. So they drop it off at 5. I'd work on it all night and then have it ready for them the next day at 5 or wait for them to come pick it up that night. So I did that for about, I think, a year. Not even a year, I don't think. I think it was like, I don't know. I can't remember. I think it might have been like 8 months. Yeah, every single day. And then sometimes I was even here like Aaron, I was here till like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. and then had to go home and wake up at 8 in the morning and go back to work. And then I went part-time with them. And then I did that. I think the part-time is what lasted about 6 months. And then I was just like, all right. But luckily for me, I mean, I lived at home still. I didn't have that much overhead. So it worked out. For you guys, seems like you guys had a whole family and stuff.
Yeah. So for me, I had married, 2 kids. So in 2014, that means my oldest was 5 and my youngest was 2. So yeah, I mean, that was hard. But the thing is I feel like if you're not a high performer in a job that you're doing, working for somebody, you're not going to be a high performer on your own either. Yeah. Here's a story too. When I was working where I was working in my previous life, I call it. But I would work long hours there too, if that's what needed to be done. I've never really been the type to work for a clock. Right. I've always been the type to work till like we've got a stranglehold, or the job's done, or you know what I mean. But one time, man, it was Christmas time. My mom had just she had gone into the hospital. They didn't know exactly what was going on with her. I had taken on some extra responsibilities where I was working, and it was something that, like, I hadn't gone up to the hospital to see my mom. I was working 16, 17 hours trying to get some stuff done, working for who I was working for. And I think it was like the third day, my mom was still in the hospital. They still weren't sure like what was going on with her. And I hadn't even been up to see her because I was working for this guy, and the extra responsibilities had fallen on me. I didn't have time, and I was just there. So I had come home at probably 9:00 at night. And so this was probably 2013, fall of 2013. So my oldest was 4 at the time. And I had come home, and he was up, and he looked at me, and he just said, "Hey, Dad, I know what you need." I just come home, and that's the first thing he said. "I know what you need." And I said, "Okay, what do I need?" And he walks over, gets a stool, puts it in front, like pushes it over to the front of the fridge, and goes over to the like Tupperware, because that's small enough for him. And he gets this little Tupperware cup, and he fills it up with water. And he says, "Dad, you just need some water." And I said, "Well, thanks, buddy." And as I'm drinking it, he asked me a question he asked me a question, and he says, "Dad, why do you work so much?" And it was something that made me really think, geez, son, I felt like I was working for, at the time I thought I was working for something that was bigger than me, right? And unfortunately, the picture that I had in my mind then was my family, but that was the smaller picture. The bigger picture was working for this other group, trying to, achieve and help them achieve greater things, because that would be prosperous, right? That's
Yeah, hopefully for you one day. Yeah.
right. And that's, if you go back to what I said first, a lot of empty promises led me to where I'm at. And so that's kind of a lot of where that has, kind of come from. And so the next day I went in, and I told him, I said, "Hey, I need some help. And this for me, this is something too, so this is really kind of strange. But anyway, it's strange because it's something that I'll like, forgiving has never been something that has been hard for me in my life. Forgetting has been the hardest thing for me in my life. One of my laundry list of character flaws is like forgetting things. So the next day I had gone in after my son said that to me, asked me that question. And I said, "Hey, I need some help with this. I need to, and not only that, I need to get up and see my mom at the hospital." And then that morning she had surgery. And it was kind of like an emergency type surgery for her, because they finally realized like what was going on. And so around, I don't know, 4:00 that afternoon, I'm sitting down with him, with the owner of the company. This is his company. And we're going through, and we were actually just doing some inspection sheets. That's what we were doing. There were some things that were said there, but anyway, we ended up getting done. And I was like, I'm starting to scan all these in, and he's like, "Well, just give it to them in the morning." And I was like, "Dude, they're in Florida, so they're 2 hours ahead of us. So they're going to be there 2 hours before us, so I'm going to stay and do this." And he says, "Well, okay, well, do you want me to go home and like this time I think it was like 6:00, 6:30." And he says, do you want me to go home and tuck your kids in and give them a kiss for you? Good night." And I was like, "Man, did you really just say that?" Like, to me,
Yeah.
in that moment when here I am trying to be here for your company, and that's at a time. Actually, it was 2012. That was actually a time for me that made me realize I can't do this any longer.
So it's like he was even aware that you weren't really, like, you had a whole different thing in your head, and he was even more aware that you probably should not even be there. You should be at home, I guess, more or something. But
Yeah. So I guess I never really looked at it from that standpoint, from that viewpoint. I took it as him, because I feel like he's kind of socially like removed, doesn't really see read the temperature in the room very well. And I think it was just him trying to be funny. And in that moment, that it just wasn't.
Yeah, stung.
That wasn't funny for me at that moment. You know what I mean?
Especially what you've been going through and stuff.
Especially everything that we had going on, you know, anyway. So, so yeah. In a nutshell, I guess that's kind of how I ended up where I'm at.
Well, what did he promise you that you were working like 16, 17 hours? Like if my boss promised me something, I don't think I'm going to be staying that long. So it had to be something good, right?
They have profit sharing.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. Which came to fruition twice. But then after that, it was never again. So this was a legitimate conversation that we had. This is almost verbatim. Mm-hmm. But what would happen is quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, everything looked great. We're doing well, kicking ass, right? Quarter 4, we just always seem to just fucking lose it all. So he came to me, this was one morning, he came to me and he says, well, we met with the accountant and we basically broke even this year. So we're not going to have any bonus. And, but I'm going to be gone the next 10 days in Turks and Caicos.
Yo,
nice.
That's some crazy shit.
That's verbatim.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like, okay. But and the thing is, I'm glad you want to go to Turks and Caicos. I'm glad that you can go.
Yeah.
But if your business just broke even, Turks and Caicos isn't somewhere you're going.
Yeah. Facts.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah. So, but you know what? Honestly,
I feel like that's like that for a lot of people. I mean, I feel like I had that in me for a while, and it's not that I never quit that, but I just moved on to something else. Like I didn't quit working as hard, knowing that I'm working for a company that's not even like giving nothing back or there's no future in this for me. But like I said, I didn't let off the gas, but then I just kind of moved it on to something else, which was this. But I feel like there's a lot of people that are in that same situation with, you know, their current jobs that they're hoping that, I don't know, there's something big coming. We always talk about this, how people get stuck in like in this kind of phase where something big is coming and they're kind of just waiting for something to happen. And sometimes they get stuck like in a shitty situation because of that. But
I think a lot of us just get stuck in a comfort zone, and when you're in a comfort zone and you have whatever it is, every job has things that are shitty.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
But you know what that shit is. So, and you know how when that shit comes up, you know how to deal and sort through that shit. Mm-hmm. The unknown, which is going and doing something for yourself or something bigger, that's the stuff that scares us into staying where we're at. Because, well, yeah, this sucks, but you know, and you can always talk yourself right into, but you know, this job is going to have its own shit, or it's going to have these, you know, it's going to have another XYZ person here that is hard to deal with, or, you know, and at least I've learned how to deal with them. We can talk ourselves out of it.
Oh yeah.
You know, out of doing something like bigger or better, but going back, you said something earlier, just a moment ago, but to me, do you think that you are working any harder now than you were when you worked for them? Where you were?
I think I'm definitely working harder now.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you really?
Uh-huh.
I don't feel like much changed for me.
Really?
The goal was always
just
the same.
Longer hours, maybe. Well, yeah, I guess you always work for.
Everybody does when you go through that. Right? Everybody's, you know, even big corporations, people end of month things always come up, so you got to work 12 hours, whatever. But no, I guess I don't really think that my stress, my responsibilities, or the effort that I put into anything, or what I put into has changed, because for me, you know, the goal is still the same, which is still that bigger picture, right? You know?
Yeah. I guess we can put it that way, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It is tough. I mean, I was working my ass off for a while too, but it was pretty quick, pretty visible right away that it wasn't going to go nowhere.
So how long were you in your previous life? We'll call it. That's because that's what I call it. So in your previous life, how long were you there when you?
I was going for 5 years.
5?
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So you're a quick learner. I'm a very slow learner. I was
10 years later.
I was 11 years later.
Oh shit.
Yeah, seriously, 11 years later. But yeah, so you're a quick learner. So good for you.
Well, and I guess it might be good. But I don't know. I just kind of always, I guess I always tell people, because people always ask, like, what made you want to do more, or do stuff like that? And I think for me, is I always wanted nice shit. And, well, to do that usually requires money. So, which can be a bad thing, because it's not always about money. With, you can lose out on a lot of things just trying to chase that.
No, time for one, right?
Exactly.
Which is the one thing you never get back. Yeah.
So
100%. All right, Jeff. Well, you let me know that when you got the machine, the mill, you didn't necessarily know how to like I guess you could say utilize it to its full potential just yet. So in those 11 years that you were working for this other dude, what were the, I guess you could say, like the key lessons you might have learned from that dude? Was it more like the business side? Like what exactly could you, I guess, maybe take out of that?
I think we learn two ways. I think we either learn how to be or how not to be.
Okay.
One of the biggest, most grateful things that I've learned is how not to be. But the other thing that I learned was just the industry. So that was huge.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, probably the most important thing, and it probably wasn't a learning lesson, it was just an establishment or something that was established, which was relationships. I think that relationships are very important. And for me, I felt like business relationships always, for me, I always approach things with a personal relationship. I think that we all do business with people that we know, like, and trust. And I feel like in the same thing in business is the same thing with personal relationships with, for instance, if I give you guys a scenario right now and I ask you guys, hey, so here's a scenario. You guys are driving home. You're by yourself or you're with your girlfriend, significant other, and you're in the middle of central Utah. It's 2 a.m. You have a flat tire and you don't have a spare. Right now, if I asked you, do you know anyone that you guys could call and they'd be there? And like, as soon as you could call them, give them 20 minutes. They're in a car and they're on their way coming down to you. Right. So right now you guys probably can think of, well, probably each other for one, but you guys can probably think of like maybe 1 or 2 other people. Okay.
Yeah.
In business, I kind of feel like in business, people get in pickles. So I feel like you bring in the personal side of the relationship into the business side. And when you are reliable that way and people know that they can count on you, inevitably you're probably going to continue to have business.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And maybe that's a pretty shitty analogy.
No, right.
That's an analogy that I kind of came up with a long time ago to kind of explain that. But that's just, and so I've used that a few times. So.
Okay, cool. So let's say, so fast forward. We, you're with Aaron in the shop, working out. These relationships, were you using them to bring like jobs, or were you how are you leveraging like the relationships that you, I guess, established that time previously?
So to be honest, I would probably say as soon as I decided to, in my own mind, that it was time. Right. That it was time to go and do that on my own. It was also, it must have been something that maybe a vibe that I had kind of put out, because there were those relationships, those customer relationships that I had established with customers and like procurement managers, engineers, and so forth, and even vendors. It seemed like more than just coincidence that people would kind of say, hey, Jeff, you ought to do this on your own. Hey, Jeff, have you ever thought about doing this on your own? You really ought to do this on your own. And there were a few people, customers that said, I'd send you work. And so it was like, maybe my wife's right. Maybe I can do this, it'll just take me, 4 or 5 days to build a $150 part. So I guess that's how I leveraged those relationships was, again, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And I feel like trust is probably, one of the greatest assets that we can, instill into our customers and to be honest, any of our relationships, right?
No, I agree.
Personal or business.
Yeah, it's like the biggest safety you can have, because I mean, it's just like the relation I created with Brett. I mean, it's just gone to you, and then it's almost like a guarantee. It puts you. I guess you're putting out your name out there and your work, and keeps coming back. And keeps spreading the word too, and.
Well, and for you, I mean, especially like here in the community with what you do, I mean, in a sense, you're putting your signature on every car that comes in here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And, people are weird about their cars. And I say that in a good way, because I'm weird about my car.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like people. I park where no one does, right? So and usually people that are weird with their cars have friends that are weird with their cars, right?
Yeah.
Or they like their things nice, and they like them they're particular, and they're peculiar. There's nothing wrong with that, being particular. But I think for you, if you put your signature on a car and it looks like shit, and you don't want to fix that, their friends are going to know about that, right? And then those friends are going to know about that too. So now all of a sudden your name is he's done some, I've heard mixed, reviews on that guy. I wouldn't go to that guy. Or, hey, no, I've heard mixed review. I haven't heard any mixed reviews on this guy. You have to go to that guy, or you could, get treated like me. Well, Jeff, I'm like 6 to 8 weeks out, so we can't fit you in. No.
Sorry, man.
It's worth the wait though, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, and I never even thought about it for you though, because I was just like, you don't just have guys walking in the door and be like, "Hey, I need this made." It's like you said, it's the relations you'd made and kind of what keeps you guys in business. And
and a lot of to be honest with you, a lot of the relationships that Aaron had made in his former life too.
That too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you're bringing two together.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's it's been we've been. Honestly, it's been a really good thing and something super grateful for. Yeah, for sure. Awesome. It's been, I will say, it has been the most humbling thing that I've ever done. And I mean that in two ways. One, I knew that starting a business was going to be difficult, but if you would have told me I'd be going through everything I went through, I never would have done it. And I'm glad that I did. And then the second part of that, which is probably the most meaningful to me, which is when people said that they would send me work, and they actually did. That was very humbling for me.
Yeah, it's got to be, for sure. Yeah, I don't think I've ever really had that, but I always had a good support from family and friends, which kind of the same thing. But yeah, like that, it just led on to more and more. So
yeah. I can see like one of your biggest, I think, hurdles is going to be trying to scale the business, right?
Yeah, because it's the quality. Yeah, people are coming here for me, and it's hard to give them something that's not coming from me. So
right, but especially for someone that is like so hands-on like you, how do you? I mean, here's a question for you, which is going to be a little off topic. I mean, a little bit, but how do you end up scaling the business and instilling in the same principles that you have and the same quality that you have into them to ensure, because you unfortunately can't go and touch every car if you grow bigger. You can't touch every car, and even if you go through and did like a quality control in a sense, right? And you go through that's time consuming to go through every car. But even if you did, anything that you see that isn't up to par is now going back and doing something over again, which is one thing that I ask myself. We never have time to do it right the first time, but we always have time to do it again.
Yeah.
So how do you do that?
it's hard. I don't think I think I've come to realize that it's going to be impossible to find someone exactly like me. But I think this is where I kind of talked to you in the past about this, where I think it's just going to be easier to find people that are good at certain things. Because I am good at, I guess I'm not good, but I do well at many things. And I'm never going to find a person that's going to do well in everything. Usually there's going to be a guy that's going to be an expert in only one thing or the other. And like maybe that's going to be the solution, just finding someone that's specifically good, and hopefully if all their intention is for window tint only, that they're going to be the best of the best of that. Versus if I get a guy that's having doing three things, but it's hard, man. It's because if it's not your business, people don't really put in their, it's just a job for them.
So then, to me, I would dare say that we're a different breed, because I can't see you working for somebody and not having the same mindset towards quality that you do now. So in a sense, it sounds to me, and maybe I'm kind of speaking on my own behalf, but the entrepreneurial spirit's probably in your blood, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
You'd say so?
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Yeah. So, have you had family members or close friends?
His dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. So your dad.
But he's like I'm gonna say he's not my biggest hater, but he's the one that doubted me the most starting. He's like, "Are you sure you want to do that shit?" Because he's gone through a lot. He's gone through businesses and hardships, and I've seen him struggle. But at the same time, just like, and it's the complete opposite of what I do. But yeah, it's I guess it runs in me, you would say.
Yeah, definitely. I can see it, because I was wondering, like, where did it come from? A lot of people it's just innate, and a lot of people it's something I think that you learn. Just by for me it was my grandfather and my uncles. So that's I think that's what gave me the influence. And I have a close friend that actually does the same thing that we do, that owns a machine shop. We do completely different industries. We actually kind of help each other with what he's good at, with what we're good at. And I was talking with him, and his kids have kind of all chosen. He's a little bit older than I am, but they've chosen different paths. And I said, did you not want your kids to take any of this over? And what he said to me was, no. He said, I love him too much to have him get into this shit. And I thought, man, I never really thought of it like that. But so kind of with what you were saying with your dad, it kind of makes sense to me.
Makes sense.
Right? I mean,
yeah. You put it that way. No, and he's told me, he's like, I just don't want you to fall in the same footsteps that I did, or, have to go through what I've gone through in the past with, obviously, the bad part of the businesses, not the good part. Obviously, we only see the good. So,
yeah, well, that's the problem. Is it's probably 80%. Well, I shouldn't say that.
It's 80%.
I shouldn't say that. It's 80% bad and 20% good. But
it feels like that.
It sure should. God, you ain't kidding. Here till 4 a.m, or like for me, I don't know what it is. It's something that even if I do go home and fall asleep, if I fall asleep at 11, I'm up at 1, and something sparked me to wake up. And you know how it is, if you're worrying about something at 1 a.m, it's always exponentially worse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it keeps you up for, an hour, 2 hours, you're just like, laying there panicking, losing sleep over shit that you can't control at the moment anyway. But
that's how it is. Yeah.
But I also feel like it's kind of setting the stage for the next day for me. At least it's kind of setting my to-do list. So when I get in, it's like, all that shit I was worrying about, I'm going to do that right now.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely.
I have a question for you, Jeff. Okay. So you were just telling Edgar how he can basically scale the business. How can he, keep the same quality? I understand you have employees, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how do you make sure that their quality is on par to when, I believe it was you and Aaron's, when you guys started, I'm pretty sure you guys were on top of it. Make sure, you guys were within tolerances, and, it was an amazing product. So how do you, I guess, transfer that knowledge or expectation to like an employee? Because obviously, they're probably there just for a check or benefits or whatever you're offering. So how do you maybe instill that energy, if any, if maybe what your experiences are there?
Well, to be honest with you, I think an ass whooping goes a long way.
Hey, follow me.
Yeah, there's an old joke, but I can change this. But it's like, what do you tell an employee with two black eyes? Yeah, nothing. He's been told twice, right? No, to be honest with you, to me it's just setting the standard, and then to me it's setting the standard that this is the expectation, and then for me, I feel like it's being the example and that standard that's been set. So if you have someone that is in a sense an owner or in charge or hierarchy manager, whatever it is, whatever you want to look at it, but if they have an expectation and then they never meet it, now you can't be trusted with right now. If somebody's like, well, you don't do that anyway. Right. That's what they start to tell themselves. You don't do that anyway. So it can't come from a rules for thee, but not for me. Like I despise that mindset. That's a mindset for me that I do not like. So for me, once the standard's set, I think that it's very important to always make sure that is the standard, right? If you start to cut corners and they start to notice that you do, rest assured they're going to cut that corner and another one.
Yeah, and some, yeah.
Right? That's for me, it's you can't have that rules for thee, not for me mentality. That's what I think. So it's even more, I kind of look at it too, where I feel like I feel that everyone views me as I'm under a microscope. So everyone's watching what I'm doing, whether they are or not. They probably don't give two shits. But for me, I feel like if I'm asking you to do something this way, there's number one, there's a reason for it. I'm not just trying to put my thumb on you. That's not the way that I like to run a business. If I'm asking you to do it, there's a reason why, and I'm going to make sure that I do that every single time too. So I don't allow myself to cut corners either, because I've always kind of thought, like, what if someone's just around the corner going, he didn't even do that. Like, he didn't do that. Why am I going to do that? Because I feel like that's exactly what's going to happen. Yeah. That's you either be the example.
Gotcha.
That would be for me. And you have no problem with that. Right. And then you also said something, that you said, for the people that are just there for the check. I want people to value their job, not just their check. So that's something that's kind of hard to create too.
Yeah, I was about to ask that. How do you find that? Let's say you're interviewing somebody. It's, a lot of people come in, showing like their fake self. They're there for an interview, right? They're there for a job. So is there like, have you? Yeah, what are essentially your interview? I guess I don't know, criteria. Like, can you tell when someone's like bullshitting? Have you failed in hiring people? Like, how do you like?
So you know what, I hate to keep using I feel like I'm regurgitating these words, but fortunate and grateful. But we've been very, very fortunate. There are two, and we've in 11 years, there's two people we've hired that ended up just kind of not working out. And, one of them I tried to work with for 14, 15 months.
Damn.
So I can be stubborn,
Yeah.
I'm very stubborn, and sometimes in a way that, can be healthy too, unfortunately it just didn't work. But, can I tell if somebody's bullshitting? Yeah. I think that kind of comes from just having some social skills and some social awareness. But we've been very fortunate to, we've got an extremely great group of, people that we work with. And we're very, very lucky. We're very lucky. But I think a lot of that has to do with the culture, that's kind of been created. I want it to be more of like, just look, everybody, we're here for a family. We're here to, so for me, I like to joke around. Nobody's off limits for me, but I have people give me a hard time too, and it's okay. And that's okay. Like that doesn't bother me. But luckily, so to kind of answer the question, to be more direct with it, machining is not for everybody. And so being an operator or being a programmer, which are two different things, or being one of the same, it's hard for people that if they don't like it, it's really hard to fake it.
Okay.
It's really, you know what I mean? It really is kind of hard to fake it. So you either like doing it or you don't. So that's actually probably a blessing for us in that regard anyway.
No, that's really good. Yeah, so you basically have a bunch of people in the similar mindset. So yeah, they're happy to be there. Everybody's there. It sounds like you're pretty easygoing as well. It's not like you're poking at everybody and not receiving any backlash. So, okay.
Well, I would like to hear what they have to say behind my back, but they're probably like, we can't stand this motherfucker. Like,
you gotta put some cameras up.
Huh?
You gotta put some cameras up.
Yeah, well, I've got cameras up.
Oh.
I can't tell by their body language. No, we do have cameras, but the only reason we have cameras is it's more of a security and a liability thing.
Yeah,
that's the only reason. Yeah. You know, I don't sit there and
I
got shit to do.
Yeah. I get it.
So
no, that makes sense. Well, I guess to expand on the employee part, let's say someone's looking for a job, you interview them. Do you have anything that you favor in an employee? Do you like people with experience, no experience, people that went to school, no school, like anything there?
Fantastic question. I prefer someone with no school, and not no school, but I shouldn't say no school. I prefer someone with no experience.
Oh shit. Okay.
And the reason I want someone with no experience is one major reason. I don't want to have someone come in that has experience 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, 2 years, 2 months. I don't want them there and I'm showing them how, again, setting that standard. This is how we do this. This is why we do this. And have them go, well, at our last job we did, I don't give two shits what you guys did at your last job. Yeah. Now, this is a catch-22. Because for me, I'm not going to listen to somebody that has this is probably a bad thing for me, but stubbornness. I'm not going to listen to somebody that just came in and they've been here for 2 weeks or 2 months, right? But I'm very open to the guys that have come to me and say, hey, when we're doing this, it's actually, we could do it this way. What do you think? I'm very open to that. Very open to that, because if there's something that can make things easier, not just for one individual, but for everybody, right? Then why not? Yeah. Then why wouldn't we? Yeah. I mean, I'm a fool to think that everything that I've come up with has been just the greatest thing. Unfortunately, it's just not. No, I get you. I get 1 out of 10 ideas that might be okay, right? Like pretty decent. So I think I'm very open to that. So now going to the school, if somebody comes in, they have no experience, and this is something that they actually kind of think that they're enjoying and they like, then if they decide that they want to go to school, I'm all for that. There's a lot of things that they can teach you in school that I probably won't teach you. But one thing that I also feel that if they are going to school, I feel like that's an investment into their own future, that's how serious they are about continuing to want to be a part of it. And I'm not saying that people aren't, they aren't serious about doing what they're doing, and working with this. It's not like I'm going to look at them any different than someone that is. I just look at someone that if they do want to go to school for it, and if they want to invest their time into doing that, something like that, that's a good thing. That can be a good thing. And one thing that we actually have where we are is I've actually told the guys, you guys want to go to school, you guys go to school and pay for it. But as soon as you guys come to me and tell me that you guys are, where you can actually prove that you're passing, we'll reimburse that 100%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I feel like that's the least that we could do, especially if they're willing to take and make that investment, not only just in like the money, but the time. Yeah. So if they want to go in there and they want to invest that time, I feel like that knowledge that they do gain from school is going to benefit the company. So I look at that as an investment into the company. And I think that's something that is going to benefit us down the road. It's going to benefit them. So I think that
really
can
cool.
be a good
that's
thing.
real.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah. So something pretty cool that we like to offer.
You hiring?
Yeah, we are. We are actually. We're looking for somebody like you.
Oh, perfect.
We're looking for some like anal retentive individual, that likes to be OCD over things.
Work till 4 a.m.
Work till 4 a.m. Man, work till 4 a.m. on a salary wage. Yeah,
8 days a week.
Oh, we've got you. Yeah, absolutely. 25 hours a day, 8 days a week.
Yep.
We got you in mind for sure. Are you looking for a job?
Hey, let's go. If Edgar's there.
Yep.
Yeah. So no, I think
cool.
it's kind of a nice perk for sure.
No, heck yeah.
Absolutely.
What the hell? Is it just for machining? Like if someone wants to do...
just machining.
Okay, sense.
I don't want to invest into you being a psychologist.
Yeah, exactly.
Over psychoanalyzing me and what I've done in the...
Like, we're not giving you your fucking refund.
Yeah. You leaving me an exit letter on all this shit that I've done wrong.
We're good.
Yeah, I can go home and get told what I'm doing wrong.
What is like you guys' like, I don't know. I have many ways of asking you this question. I guess, what is like the coolest or more proudest part as a company or yourself that you have done, whether if it's just one part or more complex part that you're kind of proud of yourself for? If you could speak of it, I guess.
You mean you mean in a broader spectrum, what I'm proud of as like the company, or what I'm proud of,
I guess that's for you,
as a piece that we've actually manufactured.
I would say probably as a company, because you've probably been able to do more now that you're a company than when you were just by yourself. But
to correct you, I was never by myself.
Oh.
I own the company by myself. But Aaron's always he's been there 98% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
The most proudest thing, I would say, man,
something that just made you like, wow, we did that.
To be honest, every day I'm proud of where we are.
Mm.
I would say that the fact that we have guys that we work with that are great guys. I mean, that's something that I'm very proud of. I'm proud of the culture that's there. I'm proud of the individuals. I'm to be honest with you, I think I'm just as proud as the individuals and their own accomplishments, and seeing them struggle through things and prevail and smile and be extremely happy, whether we made money or lost money. I think that's something I'm very proud of, is because even though, I mean, I don't like to look at this as like a great thing to lose money, because time is money. But, if I bid something out and it should take us 5 hours, but for whatever reason, we struggled through it and it took us 15 or whatever. I look at that as those struggles are where we learn the most. Right. So that's always like super beneficial. But to say about like a part or something, I would say what we do in the medical world. What we do in the medical world has been a very fortunate and very fortuitous. This comes from Aaron's former life, but we are one of 2 machine shops that actually provide this medical product for the world.
Wow.
Oh, hell.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
and we're right here, so that's something that I'm very proud of that.
Yeah.
I would say, we provide this. This is a consumable item.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I would say
that's awesome.
Yeah. So we're one of two places to manufacture for the world. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's way cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I know there's a lot of money in medical too. My girlfriend's dad has like a little shop in his garage, so and he'd be telling me he does stuff for the University of Utah. So he does. He was designing some sort of thing where I guess there's not a way to suture up like some sort of artery. So he was trying to figure out a way to suture that shit, and he was showing me everything, and I was kind of lost, to be honest. But I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" It's insane. So
really,
yeah.
So medical. Everybody hears medical, and they always think big dollar signs. And for us, our product is not and it's not our product, but what we actually manufacture is not super high dollar. In fact, it would be probably considered very low end of things. But regardless, like,
you saying 2 in the world though, it sounds crazy.
Yeah.
So we're manufacturing. Yeah, we do anywhere from about 20 to 23,000 units per week.
Holy shit! And you say they're consumables, like people are
not consumable as in like
okay. I was about to say
as in like eating them. Consumable as in they throw them away.
Okay.
So they actually do. They do use these. I think that they do get 12 uses. So. And they do go through, it's actually just called an autoclaving process afterwards, after surgeries. And so they're able to use them again, but the integrity of the piece actually starts to get lost after 12 times of going through an autoclaving. So yeah, they do use them 12 times and then they get rid of it.
Damn.
Yeah.
And then you guys are, I'm assuming this is supplying all the hospitals in the U.S., right?
Luckily for us, we just supply where we have one point of contact, and then they actually take and get it sent and get it all out dispersed. So yeah, super super neat. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool though. I mean, it seems like your team is your big thing though. You guys are all building together, and sounds like that's the kind of more important. I guess that's how it all makes everything work together, right? It sounds like it's having that one team and.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for me, it's very important to have that because, without them, we can't have what we've got. Yeah. Right. Yeah, so everybody's, I always go, I'm terrible, but I always go to like sports analogies and, but that's just the way it is. You know what I mean? You got somebody that's not doing their job, things are going to crumble. You know what I mean? Somebody's,
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So
it doesn't take much.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't.
No,
it doesn't. But it's definitely. It's been a wild ride. I'll say that. Yeah, just past 11 years. It's been a wild ride.
Wow.
Is that whole theory of the 10-year thing true? Or people always say like after 10 years is like when you actually start seeing, like, I guess not even seeing like more money coming through, but you kind of see more like the company itself is just growing and more stabilized now, or is it?
Jeez, I've never heard that.
Because I'm waiting for 10 years.
You got 4 more. You're right there.
I'm like, it's coming up.
You're hoping to get there in 6 months?
I'll be Turks and Caicos here in a couple of years. No.
Hey, all you gotta do is just, provide some empty promises, man. You'll be there.
Yeah. No, I've just heard from some people, and they always say like, a business will take. They say like, yeah, the first 4 years are going to be like the hardest to, I guess get going, and then also be profitable in whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe I might just be hearing shit that's not real, but yeah, they say like 10 years usually. It's like when the business will finally start to like be like, okay, now it can kind of maintain itself and.
I still don't think I've gotten to a point where I would say that the business maintains itself. And I think a lot of that has to do with me. There's a lot of things that I would probably consider myself a control freak in and probably don't want to lose control of, not because of, I don't trust anybody, but, for lack of a better word, I have trust issues. But I guess I need to ask this. What do you mean by maintain itself? You mean like me step away and it just keeps running?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm very still hands-on. Aaron and I are both very hands-on still. My idea of owning and running a business is not being a puppet master.
Gotcha.
And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, and I don't mean that derogatory. Yeah. I mean,
and it goes back to what you were saying too. Like you're being the example for
everybody else.
Yeah. And if the owner's just in Turks and Caicos,
all the time.
Yeah. Then why are they going to care more?
Yeah, shit can go awry.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but besides, for me, Elite Machine started from a clean sheet of paper, and it's hard for me to let that go. It'll be very hard to, it's just hard to let that go. And but as much stress as it gives me, and sometimes I feel like I'm going to have a fucking heart attack one day, like most days,
Yeah.
I enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I really do. I enjoy it. Even, shit gets crazy and you can't figure things out. But you're there and, you're with your guys and that you're working with, and you're putting your heads together and trying to figure something out. When you finally do, man, like, there's no better feeling than that relief relief is a great feeling, right? Panicked about something, not going to work out, and finally it does. And it's, thank God.
I guess in your kind of industry, what are the kind of issues or problems you're running into? Whether it's like, is it the machines like not doing what you're wanting, or programming, or?
Yeah, it could definitely programming can definitely be one. Tooling not lasting. Right now we have a job that we're cutting this material. It's called Inconel. Most people don't cut it because it's a nightmare. And yeah, it's been a nightmare on tooling. Normally we can have a tap or, a drill or something like that. If it's aluminum or steel, I mean, yeah, it's even stainless steel. You can have that run 250, 300 parts. This Inconel, we're getting 2 or 3 parts.
Jeez.
So when you're throwing away $150 end mill every 3 parts, and so that's $50 a part, and you bid the parts out at, $85 a part.
The math's not mathing.
It's not working out very well.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah, so that's something that, obviously time too, thinking that something's going to take, 2 hours, and you might be 2 days into something.
Well, it makes me feel better that I'm not the only one going through just shit like that. I always thought it was like me, honestly, because I was just like, how the fuck am I thinking it's going to take 1 day and it takes fucking 4, or, vice versa.
What I meant to say is everything that I bid out takes I bid it out for about 10 hours. It takes us 20 minutes, and it's just been nothing but an uphill, or downhill. It's just been easy breezy the whole time. Yeah, absolutely.
I'll bid everything.
We've been coasting. Yeah, we've been coasting, man.
That's great.
Yeah, we have to create our own problems because we don't have any.
Start throwing shit in the machine.
Yeah, we have to create our own problems around here. Wow. No, yeah, you're not. I'm sorry to tell you you're selfish, but you're not being picked on. It's not just you.
Yeah, that makes me feel good.
There you go. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff. And what's usually like the process? So let's say a vendor out there, or not someone that just wants to, I don't know, create something. They're like, hey, do they reach out? Do they have to have like a relationship? Do they just call a number they see somewhere and be like, hey, Jeff, I'm interested in getting 200 of these units. Can you help me? Like, what's like the process of onboarding a client, I guess?
So to be honest with you, the vast majority of all of our clientele is actually people that are having their own engineering group or their own design team. Right? So a lot of times it's just been past relationships, or even, hey, I know, I have a guy that I have a machine shop that we use, man, you gotta try this guy out. So a lot of stuff, we don't design anything. We don't have our own product, right? To be honest with you, we kind of have the same thing that you have. The only thing that I feel that we have is a service. We offer a service to manufacture whatever widget it is that you have designed. That's what we have to offer. So for me, I've always stressed that customer service, if the only thing that we sell is service, then our customer service better be top notch. Because if our customer service is not top notch and all we sell is service, then we're not going to have a business. Now, there's obviously a lot more to it, but in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
That's what we've heard from other companies too. I mean, it's like customer service is kind of the...
It's your reputation, kind of going back to the thing.
Yeah.
Like, you got a shitty ass customer service, and
what's kind of crazy though is like having good customer service nowadays is now the exception, not the rule.
Yeah, especially for bigger companies.
Have you guys noticed that?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I feel like it's more of like the exception, not the rule. It's very rare when you have people Right, well, how many times have you been to a restaurant and you're thinking, what the
fuck going on here?
Seriously?
Like seriously? But anyway, and then maybe that's not a good example. There's times you can see in a restaurant, things are busy, they're shorthanded, you know what I mean? That's one thing that gets a pass, but.
No, I get you though.
Yeah.
But
man, yeah. of an issue I was going through recently with some paint stuff, and it's just like, what the fuck? Like, I guess no one cares now anymore, so, But
what like where does that stem from? To me, like where does that stem from?
I think just people just don't give a shit about their jobs.
But doesn't the owner of the company want to know that type of shit is going out the door, or that type of thing is going on in their own company? Is that, and this is something again, is that a loss of control?
Yeah, for sure it is.
That's probably what you get when the owner walks out.
Yeah,
and it's just I guess what would happen. I guess if we both walk out, you walk out of your company, and it's probably going to get to that point.
Yeah, and it very easily could, right?
I think that's kind of what happens in certain situations, I guess.
I think and I agree, and I think that it's more like, and maybe I'm not trying to. It's, to me, I view it as more commendable and more respectable as seeing owner operators.
Yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't see it too often anymore.
No, not anymore. Yeah,
you don't.
It's all just chains now of like whatever it is.
Yeah. That's what messes it up, the whole corporate structure and shit.
Capital groups, right? Venture capital groups, I know that's, there's it's definitely changing for sure. But I don't know why that's changing.
Yeah, no, I get you. Well, usually what I've seen in the past is, you start off good, you have good customer service, good product, whatever, good service. The owner is like, you know what, I've had enough, or maybe they get a good offer, they buy them out, they get them out of there, or maybe sometimes have them for a little bit, and then they put in a bunch of just, I don't know, like just weird random titles sometimes, some little hierarchy thing. And then you have a bunch of micromanagement and just a bunch of dysfunction, honestly.
Yeah. The micromanaging, that's something I don't handle very well.
Yeah, I can't do it either. I ain't gonna lie.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
That micromanagement. I hope that the guys that we work with don't think that oh God, that'd be terrible if they thought that of me. You need to have them on here and say, we're not going to let this get out there.
Hey, come on, guys.
Next on the pod.
Yeah, you need to have Aaron on here and be like, you're sure that he's not going to hear any of this?
Yeah, promise. Just go on YouTube. Have you ever had like a really bad customer or something like that? That kind of like made you guys change the way, or
maybe you had to fire them or something, fire a client?
That's a good question. I one, but that really wasn't a loss. For me, I kind of have a bad habit of when things aren't going well, like with a customer, I always kind of like look internally, what can I do better? Which drives me absolutely insane, and I can't seem to like get out of that mode. Luckily luckily we have a really good customer base.
That's good.
Again, I need to Google, what's another word for fortunate? Extremely lucky that way.
Okay.
And I guess essentially, if you build up, if most of your clientele is coming back from, or
word of mouth.
word of mouth, then usually you have a pretty good solid community. You're not just getting random,
bad apple here.
I got your number from, fucking dictionary, but phone book.
Phone book. Yeah. You guys are you guys old enough to know what that is?
Yeah.
A phone book?
The yellow thing, right?
Yeah.
The
you know what I'm talking about? The white pages?
Yeah.
The yellow pages?
The yellow pages? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was always weird back then. They just fucking throw them on your fucking porch every year. And then half the time we just threw them away. I don't think I ever went through one just to find something to to call someone.
Dude, that's actually kind of crazy to think about. I remember, you could just go and look it up. You could have their address and their phone number like that.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. I remember still when they came out with caller ID, when they actually, you had to plug the phone line into a little white box next to the other big phone. That was pretty cool.
Okay. I think we might have skipped that one. We, had like
We might have skipped
we
that.
just got on a cell phone right after.
Yeah. I think, see, I think I was probably 21, 22 before I got a cell phone. Not to take that not to go off the rails with where we were going, but.
No, I was going to say, with like technology, I guess, with what you guys do and stuff, is it pretty hard to keep up with everything that's coming out right now? Or would you say like machining, what you guys do is kind of always kind of stayed, it's always going to be kind of at a simplified way? Because I know now there's like the 3D printing stuff, there's all the AI stuff that can, I don't know if it codes now for the machines. I don't know what it can do. But.
So I know that they're coming out with some. I don't know how well it is doing, but AI is definitely in some CAM softwares. And if it's not fully integrated right now, it's coming. And as far as like trying to, I mean, you know how it is. Technology is always changing. It's always advancing. You know, I mean, you buy a computer and 2 months later, it's the old one, right?
Yeah.
So it's always changing. But the foundation has always kind of stayed the same.
Okay.
But yeah, obviously, it's definitely something that we worry about and kind of look for. But luckily with, and knock on wood, a lot of the stuff that we do, advancing the machinery and advancing the program is really not going to be there's not going to be any cost saving there. There's not going to be any savings for us or for the customer right now. Yeah. Now I can't speak for what it's going to look like in 5 years or 10 years, because it could very easily look a lot different, you know. Yeah. But still, that very first machine that I bought 11 years ago, we still use every day.
Oh wow! So it's one of those bigger machines that's in there working, or is it?
Yeah, it is. It is. I wish, that's the one thing, Aaron and I talk about this too. I wish we still had that. It was actually that little hobby mill that he had.
Little baby tiny.
Dude, honestly, man, like I wish we had that, because I wish we had it, because it would be nice to just have as like an office piece, to be honest.
That would be cool.
First dollars came from
that. Right
this.
There, that's what got us to here.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, because and Aaron's garage. Wow. Yeah. That's
awesome.
So that was, going clear back to at the beginning when we were discussing that, Aaron had kind of set up his own entity. So I would just get the work and stuff, and then in a sense have Elite Machine pay him, but he and I were, out there, doing it together. Yeah. And that, I think we did that through maybe, I don't know, a handful of transactions. And then finally it was, needed something bigger, faster, so got that. And then go back to the first, then the story starts again.
Yeah. Starts again. That's very cool.
Yeah. Okay. So did you start just with the first machine and going forward? Is it just CNC, or do you have any like manual?
Nothing
stuff?
manual.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's CNC.
It's probably,
everything's CNC.
It's probably easier to train people, huh? With that, because everything manual, I feel like you probably would have to go to school for that stuff, and I feel like maybe back then that's why I guess school was more known for us, because a lot of it was manual, huh?
Yeah, it just depends on the person you are, because I had a good time with like manual mills and lathes, especially the lathe. I feel like that was kind of easy for me. But once I started going to like the G codes and the M codes, I was like, what the fuck is this? Yeah, but maybe it's just different. I don't know.
Yeah. So to that point with your, the G code, I've never learned how to do G code. We do have. Well, excuse me. I never went to school for that. Well, I didn't go to school for any of it. Obviously, it was like, hard knocks. That's how I learned. Yeah. But G code, we have 6 machines. Well, all of our machines can read G code, and we can all program in G code. Oh. But there's also, did you hear about conversational programming?
Nah, see.
Back then?
Mm-mm.
No?
That's something new? Okay.
So it's not new, but it's just something that. So the first mill, that was the reason that I went with the one that I purchased, is because it had that conversational programming, which for me, that was going to be able to get me producing parts quicker, right? Because I had no experience with programming, I had no experience with machining. If you would have said to me, speeds and feeds, I would have looked at you like,
The hell's that?
What do you mean? Don't I just try this at 5,000 RPM and run it at 20, whatever that means, Yeah. But it was conversational programming. So M code, G code. This is the difference. Do you guys know the difference in it?
Not yeah. You're gonna have to explain the first part. The what do you even call it? The
conversational.
Yeah. What's the difference?
Okay, so this is like a rundown, watered down version.
Okay.
And again, it's a terrible analogy with all the other ones I've given. When it comes to conversational programming, it'd be the same as if we were like programming, or not programming, but putting in an address in our phone and getting directions to it. Right?
Ooh.
We say that we want to go over here. And it'll just tell us how to get over there. Right? We get directions just like that. G code, for me to go from where I am to that same destination, G code and M code is saying, put the key into the ignition, turn the ignition back, turn it and put it in gear. Everything is step by step. So the G code, everything is more geometry, telling the machine where to go. M codes is more of like on-off buttons. It's telling the machine to turn something on or turn something off. Turn the spindle on, turn the spindle off. Turn the coolant on, turn the coolant off. G code, if you wanted to program just a 2-inch square, you would have to program, a G1. Well, you'd have to program a G0 to get it over there, bring the tool over, drop it down, program this line, this line, this line, and this line. Conversational is, I just say, I want you to start at this 0 point. I want you to make a 2-inch square and cut it like this. And then it just cuts it.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So, and there's pros and cons to both, right? A lot of G code, man, you can do a lot. You can do a lot with that. And conversational, sometimes you're a little bit limited with what you actually want to try and do. But I would honestly, with the majority of what we do, I would dare say, with the exception of like the 6 machines that they only read G code, the ones that run conversational that we actually have that programming, 99% of what we do, we program through that conversational program.
Oh.
And one of the great things about it is we can take people like, that don't have the experience, and we can train them.
That makes sense.
And as they start to understand a little bit more using the conversational, then you can kind of implement a little bit of G code. Yeah. But in this world, and Brett is in this world too, going back to Brett, Brett has actually, you're always learning something in this world, in this industry. And Brett has said it very well. And he just said that the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know. And it really,
that's facts.
You can learn so much in this world. It's just, it's endless, endless.
Yep.
So I don't know about you.
Endless auto styling.
It's endless.
Endless. No, it is though. It's
contact Edgar.
Is your ad, bro?
Contact Edgar here at Endless Auto Styling.
There you go. You'd make a good infomercial guy. No, that's cool. Yeah, I was gonna say maybe you can get some. I guess the only thing that would kind of benefit you guys on the road is if the robots ever get good enough to get some AI robots or those Tesla robots.
Those robots now, you should see them now. You should see. I mean, you should see what they already do now, right? I mean, it's probably a year's worth that you pay a year's worth of an employee's salary. But it doesn't talk back, and it doesn't take vacation. It doesn't take pee breaks. Yeah. So in very many, in certain applications, they're fantastic. I've seen, I've been in machine shops, and we have a customer that they machine some of their own stuff too. In fact, I was actually there this morning, and seeing these huge FANUC robot arms running these machines is crazy.
Oh, what?
Oh, dude, they'll do everything. They'll open up the doors. They'll take out the part. They'll place a part. Usually they have like,
holy shit.
I don't even know what they call them. But on the end of the arm, there's usually, 2 or 4 different kind of grippers so it'll have it, it'll have new material here. And what it'll do is it'll open up the doors, and then it'll flip it and turn it, pick up the piece that's done, turn it around, set the stock that needs to be done, right? Tighten everything down, close the doors, and hit cycle start, and then it'll take this and take it over and put it wherever it needs to go.
Holy shit!
Yeah, it's crazy. And these FANUC, I mean, these ones are probably, I mean, to the elbow of the thing is probably 6-7 feet tall. They're huge.
Shit.
I thought it was just something I was kind of saying for the future, but it sounds like
No,
they're
here.
No, they're here. No, those robots are here. For what we do, we don't have a lot of like automation that, I mean, we could automate some of it, but the problem is we can't automate like our inspection process to the point that we need it to be. That's where the human is still there, right? That's why the guys we work with are still doing what they do, you know?
Yeah, there's always got to be that check-in process of it. After so many parts, whatever, you got to check something. And I get it. Yeah,
we have a customer, and they're actually in the ammo industry. Great people, but they actually have figured out a way they can actually kind of automate a lot of their inspection. They do 100% inspection of all that. They actually make brass casings.
Oh yeah.
You know, and they figured out a way, and they have an awesome machine. That thing is great, but still, you got to have someone that it's a machine. So it malfunctioned here, or this got kicked out, and so it stopped the machine. And so you still got to have somebody there, and you still got to have somebody that's still going to do some visual inspection anyway. But yes, as far as like having those robots, you can run those things lights out 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as long as it has material to run. It'll just keep running. I mean, these machines too, and this is probably 15, 20 years ago, but these machines, if it breaks a tool, it knows, so it'll just go and get another one and just continue on.
What the hell? That was 15, 20 years ago, you said?
Yeah, 15,
Holy
20 years
shit.
ago. Yeah.
I guess that'd be more for parts that can have a little room for error and don't have to be
these are very, this is a lot of this stuff too is like aerospace.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of it.
Yeah, people can't really, like, cheap shit usually doesn't go to the CNC. Like, that's expensive shit.
Yeah, everything's yeah. So,
damn. What's the longest runtime you guys have on some of the parts you guys are doing right now?
Oh man, I would say it kind of depends. Right now for us, if we had anything that's most stuff is 15, 20 minutes. But yeah, we've definitely had stuff up to 3, 4, 5 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, just running.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I was gonna ask because I was like, I'm not sure if maybe you guys leave some machines, come back. I know it's probably not the smartest thing to do.
I mean, you do. Sometimes you just pray to God you don't come back to a molten mess. But yeah, I mean, if it's a long run time and it's something that it's for us anyway. If it's something that has already ran. Yeah. And we know that the program is good. Now the only thing we're kind of questioning is, can the tooling hold up or will it hold up? Because if it breaks, our machines don't know if it broke. So it could just keep going. I mean, it's going to get to a point where, there's going to be so much torque on the spindle or on the drives that it's going to kind of air out. Right. But it depends on what we're cutting.
Gotcha.
And that criteria is the program good and is the tooling going to hold up? But yeah, letting things run like through the night. Yeah, we definitely can do that if we need to.
I get you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure. We've got the machines that sometimes we call it a load and go. So usually we can load them up and they'll run for about an hour and 10 minutes, hour and 15 minutes. Sometimes we might do that. So we might have 4 machines that'll run.
What's that the one you showed me that has like the like tips you guys were making? Or like something that it was just like some long metal bars you guys were...
So that one, that's a screw machine, Swiss screw machine. I'll run that lights out.
Because it looked like you could just
run that lights
leave
out.
It alone.
Yeah. And because we're just cutting aluminum. We're just cutting aluminum, get new tooling in there. I don't have any problem letting that thing run for 24 hours a day.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no problem there. At first it was something, when we first got that machine, it's kind of funny. I felt like, hey, I'm confident that it can do this. We haven't had any issues for, 6 hours or 8 hours. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to let this go. And I live, if I take the long way home, I'm about 6 minutes to get home.
Okay.
Which is really a blessing and a curse. But there's times I'd wake up at, 1 or 2 in the morning and I'm panicked thinking, oh shit, is this thing, is it running? Is it caught on fire? Yeah. So I'll run in the morning just to find out at 2 in the morning, walking in there, sleepy and, but just to check on it and think, it's good.
That's good.
It's good, or sometimes you come in and it had thrown an error and you just hit the e-stop because you'll worry about it when you get in the morning.
That's cool. I guess you have like essentially kind of a way it's kind of like a robot as of right now. I mean, it's kind of it can work on its own and
yeah, especially with that machine that you just brought up. I mean, we just have that bar feeder in there, right? Mm-hmm. So we can load up 20 12-foot bars. Man, when you're making a part that's like a 1/2 inch long, right, and you got a 12-foot bar and you got 20 of them in there. Yeah, just because that thing's super cool. That thing will get to the end of the bar, and it'll just pull it all the way back, pull the small 7-inch piece out of it, drop it down into a little bucket, load a new bar, push it in, part it off, and just keep going. That's cool. Yeah.
I take it with machines. There's probably a variety to buy. Was there like a certain? What made you, buy that one specifically? Or was it just the demand that you guys seem like, all right, we could see this being a good machine to buy or invest into, or?
So that's a good question. With the first machines, it was basically that conversational programming. I wasn't worried anything about anything else. I was just more, can I even make a part with this thing? And funny, a lot of the bells and whistles that I could have put on that machine, of course, they were, probably would have cost another $5,000 or $6,000, but, in the grand scheme of things, would have been the cheapest, some of the cheapest stuff to buy. So with those machines, it just came down to just the programming, conversational programming. With the other machines, it came down to, talking to the machine tooling reps and asking them, hey, this is what we're going to be machining. What do you guys have to offer? Some people turned us down because of what we were cutting on certain things, that they wouldn't be able to. I mean, we would cut it, but it would void the warranty with one product that we actually produce. And then some of the other ones, it really is just, hey, this is what we need to be, machining. We have an opportunity here. Do you guys have anything that you can offer? And everybody kind of has, something. But again, all the machines that we have they've been fantastic. Awesome. We have three different brands of machines. I'm kind of maybe a brand whore. Once I find something that works, again, business of, know, like, and trust. But if I know it and I like it and trust it, then yeah, we're going to keep on it. And yeah, so yeah. Okay.
Is Haas still one of the industry leaders?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Haas is super big around here. Yeah, very big around here. So we have actually the first machine that we bought it's called a Herco.
Okay.
And that actually is it's probably the same price point of the Haas, but probably a competitor.
Okay.
Well, obviously a competitor, but I would say the machines are right there, neck and neck. I'm probably biased and think the Herco is better. But again, you go back to that controller and that conversational programming, and you can take somebody. I mean, to be honest, like you have a little bit of a background in it. You kind of sound like
high school.
Yeah. But it sounds like he may have even retained it a little bit more.
Yeah,
maybe.
I got my machining one certificate because my dad made me.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
dude. Man, yeah, maybe you do need a job.
Maybe.
I forgot all that stuff. I go
like even better.
Well, the way we did this in high school was we didn't do it like this in high school.
Yeah.
But honestly, you guys know like enough, right? You guys are smart enough. I would say within 30 to 45 minutes, you would understand at least a couple of different things, on what was going on there,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff's always interested me. I think the reason I kind of fell out of it was more because of I was in CAD, I guess, at school. And that goes right along with the machining, part, because that's where it starts from the design.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we got rid of that teacher. That teacher became a principal, and I kind of fell out of it. But I still took the machining class, and it always seemed interesting, but I never got far enough to where I think you got way further than me with that stuff, obviously, because you went.
It's because I think what they did in high school was they didn't want to just throw you on the machine. They would like take you through 60 hours, I believe, of book work. And most people in high school, they don't give a shit. They don't even make it to the floor. So they make it to the floor, do like the smallest, easiest design or
drill a hole in a fucking block of stuff.
Yeah, some shit like that, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, well, the thing is, though, especially with manual, right? With manual lathes or manual mills, you just throw it in and you combine it with a bunch of like high school kids. That's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah,
I'm surprised nobody fucking. Well,
I'm surprised people haven't
they would show us like crazy shit, like crazy videos before. Like, hey, before you guys go out in there, watch the safety video. Fucking guy loses a fucking hand or some shit.
Oh Jesus.
Well, yeah, and the thing is that the machine's not going to know the difference. I mean, the machine's going to be pushing through, cutting, material. Yeah. It's not going to know the difference if your head's in there.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And it wasn't even in high school. I saw some gnarly videos. It was junior high, because we actually went to different junior highs. I went to Walkwest out here.
Oh, you did? Really?
Yeah. Well, my parents thought my middle brother was he was more of a rascal, you would say. Gave him some trouble. So they were like, well, we don't want him going through all the gangs in Ogden and stuff. So they put me out here for junior high, and then going back to Ogden. But anyways, machine shop here, because I had a machine shop and like wood shop class here at junior high, and man, they show some gnarly videos of like what you're saying. Like, yeah, they wouldn't know the difference between your head or your arm versus, and just
it won't. And that's So to put high school kids out there on the floor, as you just said, would not be a good thing.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
that's facts.
So I'm actually glad to hear that that they put you through 50, 60 hours of that book work.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know what buttons do what before you get out there and just start messing around. And even some high school kids that probably have even gone through the time, maybe don't even retain it, or probably like kind of cheated their way through it in a sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some crazy shit that could happen in a machine shop for sure. Knock on wood, we haven't seen any of that happen here.
Yeah, we don't want. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
What else? With your, I guess with your business, is there anything else you would want to? I guess it's kind of hard because your clientele kind of more comes to you, but is there anything else you want to achieve with it? As far as like, whether it's like work with under a certain company or do parts for a certain, I don't know, thing, or make a certain part for.
Yeah, or maybe double in size or something like that.
Well, I think probably more of what you just said is, there's always that, pushing to just continue to be better. Mm-hmm. Whether that means double in size or whether that means become more efficient with with where we are and what we have. But for me, it would just be to continue to just get better. Just be better, continue to get better. If that means bigger, then so be it. But I would say just continue to be better at what we're doing.
No, cool. That was good. I feel like you have a great approach to just business in general. No, I'm serious.
I don't read, so don't follow me here.
I don't read.
No, for real. So, no, I appreciate you. Yeah, leading. Like you said, leading by example. So that's primarily obviously the one, and yeah, like you said, it's not like, oh, I want to double in size and make, double revenue. It's more, I want to keep the quality there. I want to keep, improving. So
yeah,
I feel like it's the correct way to go about it for sure.
Well, thank you. Yeah. And I feel like as long as the company continues to do better, then, I want everybody else to do better. Mm-hmm. Again, without them, we can't achieve where we are. Right. They're a huge asset.
Yeah.
So
gotcha.
No, yeah, it absolutely is.
100%.
Yeah, they are. So
cool. Yeah. Any questions for us?
Man. Yeah. What about you guys? What do you want to do with this?
Well, I go back and forth with it, but obviously at first it was, growing it, becoming more, scaling it up a little bit more so we can take on the more work. Cause I get plenty of people coming through the door and, getting phone calls, but I can't take in everyone because it's just a one-man show as of right now, but that'd probably be it. Just scaling up a little bit. After that, I'd just probably be, scale up to hopefully invest into something that's going to give me more in the future, which probably most likely for me would be something that would help the business and the wealth in the future. It'd be some real estate, like buy my own shop, build my own shop the way it is. And
residual income.
Yeah, that would kind of be like the long term with it. But yeah, it's just still finding the process of, I ask myself every day almost, what am I doing? What am I doing this for? But no, not every day, but there's definitely those times that you do ask yourself, and I think that's what it comes back to. Where it's just like I just got to figure out a way to be able to scale it up a little bit, but maybe, like I said, break down to only certain people do certain things. Can't expect everybody to do everything to my way. So, but yeah, I think that'd be for me.
Do you think that you could have somebody that, I know that you don't want to have everybody like do everything, but one thing that I firmly believe in is that the more versatile someone is, the more valuable they become. So if you were to get somebody in here that was to start at whatever you could consider an entry-level learning type position, then they can kind of start to understand the process of how you operate and how cars coming in and out operate, or it's just coming in for this, so I won't even see that for right now, or it comes in for this, that I know that that's the first thing I'm gonna be touching that first, right? Mm-hmm. And once they become good with that, and if they enjoy doing what they're doing, and if they actually show an interest that they want to do and learn more, then couldn't that person get trained and do whatever it is that they're interested, like Tint or something, and then now in a sense it puts you in a pickle. You got someone else that needs to come in to start to do what they're doing, right, or what they were doing. So because for the way I look at it is, for me, I'm going to make this personal about me, but I can never let go of what I'm doing until I train someone to do it. Mm-hmm. So it'd be kind of the same there. You can't let them, if you have an entry level, whatever that is, mm-hmm. I don't know what that would be, but whatever that entry level position is, which isn't doing everything, but just doing this and learning how to do it and do it well. You can't move them out of that position until two things happen. One, they actually show some interest that they want to do something else. Mm-hmm. And two, you have someone trained, or they have someone trained to replace them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that would be it. I've taken that approach. I think the thing is the entry level position as a here is like detailing. That's like the basic thing you can kind of train anyone. And if they get that, then they say they have the eye for detail, so they should be able to do other things as well. But I think it's just keeping a consistent work in that department, you would say, to keep them busy, to prove themselves. I think that's been the struggle, I guess. So from that step, I ended up pushing them into what they show interest next, which would be either a wrap or tint. But then they either fail at that or they just don't get it, or there's not enough time. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is just having more work, needing more work to keep them. But then if I get more work, then I'm going to be, in the spot where I'm doing the work now because they're not getting it. So
right.
But no, I do get that. I think I've taken that approach, at least with this last few employees that I've had, and it's I guess it's carried on to be the furthest I've been able to train them. I think everybody loves the job because everybody loves cool cars and stuff that we get. I mean, it's not always, cool cars. Sometimes it's your 97 Honda Civic that comes in. That's, it's a bucket, but.
Or a 93 Cadillac Seville.
Pretty sweet one.
That you won't touch.
Yeah. We'll put you on the schedule next year.
For July.
Yeah. So, yeah. But I mean, I think the job everyone's going to love. It's just a matter of them getting it. That's, I think, my struggle. But I don't know. I definitely got to come up with something because 10 years is coming up.
10 years is coming, and you want it in 6 months. No, well, for me, I feel like, I mean, even an entry-level job of being like detailing, that really isn't an entry-level job to me, because you can really screw some stuff up.
That is true.
Right?
What would you be like, more somebody just wash his car? No, even then, I guess you could see just everything is just so.
Well, I would think so. And I'm look, I'm not poking holes in your business boat over here. I'm just asking questions. I'm not even giving, unadulterated advice either. I'm just saying, I'm just asking, because to me, I know for me, when you say, yeah, it'd be probably like the detail would be like the entry level. And to me, as someone that, as we've already covered, is kind of a little OCD.
Yeah.
I hear that and go,
damn.
You sure?
Yeah.
But I don't know,
No,
I don't know.
And it could be, honestly, I think that's why it doesn't work out as well, because I'm putting them I'm just throwing them in the water basically without, I mean, I try to give them as much as guidance, I guess, and a little bit of probably like a week, 2 weeks worth of practice and training on that. But yeah, that might not be it. Might be just hold the wrap up while I do this, or hand me the heat gun. That might be the entry level part.
Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe. Right. Mm-hmm. Because then they're seeing, I don't know. I know the process in which I think it would go. But I don't know your process.
Yeah.
Because that's a pretty big responsibility for an entry-level job, I would think, especially being detail. Someone that doesn't have experience doing that.
And it depends, I guess, the car. Well, the thing is, when I interview people, I interview people that usually have a nice car themselves that they can show me that they detail and keep up. If they come in a car that's just, got fucking soda cans and shit everywhere, then I'm like, well, fuck, yeah, this ain't for you,
A cheeseburger stuck on the carpet there.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry about that. Yeah. But if I get someone that at least kind of like, is, hey, look, I cleaned my car, I washed it, like, they show some interest already there. Yeah. So that's kind of where I start them. But yeah, maybe that might be a good idea. Just start them even way slower, just kind of get the feel for them.
Well, for me, I feel like too, like when you're just actually detailing a car, are you using just like a like pneumatic buffer? Or are you using, more?
I was talking
like
more
DA?
More interior detailing, not exterior. The exterior would be like the second part of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we're talking about two different things here.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
polishing a car.
Yes, and I'm over here thinking, wait a minute, like that's a big ask.
Yeah. No, yeah, that'd be the second step.
Okay, no. That makes a lot more sense, because for a minute I was thinking, man, you trust a lot more than I thought. Like,
but even then, though, you bring me your new car though, and she or him is using they grab the acid spray instead of the degreaser, and they're spraying the screen of a brand new car or truck.
Yeah.
That's where I saw it too. I'm like, that can be a huge mistake too.
Sure.
But as far as mostly interior details, most people can vacuum a car to a certain extent. They can wipe down some dust.
Sure.
And then from there we can improve. So that's kind of where the starting point for me is. Yeah. But
that's a great starting point.
Yeah.
I was thinking exterior. I guess I'm glad you clarified that, because I was thinking
polish. Yeah. You can fuck some shit up.
That's what I mean.
Like, hey, we need to repaint this hood now.
That's what I was saying. Like, you're telling me detailing, like, and I'm going, don't do
it. Yeah. Interior.
Interior. So, wow. What a difference that makes.
Yeah. It can be anything though. Like you mean, you made a good point because you made me think. I'm like, if someone's doing the exterior and then they drop the mint on the floor and they just pick it up and
don't care
cleaning, they can fuck something up there too. I mean, a lot of that stuff's common sense, right? But a lot of us lack that. So, so yeah, it can be. I might have to rethink that whole new entry level.
No, I didn't mean that. That's not what I meant. We were talking about two different things.
Now you made me second guess everything though, like dropping the mint, picking up a rock, spraying acid on the screen.
You made him more paranoid.
Yeah. Now I'm like, shit.
Oh, good. Well, I wanted you to wake up around 2 a.m. and think, God, that Jeff, what an asshole.
What an asshole. What about you, Alex?
Me?
Yeah, what about you?
Me, you know, I'm just happy to be here, you know.
You're just happy to be here. Huh. You guys just want me to do all the talking.
Well, usually when we have guests on, it's like, yeah, we'll definitely like pitch in and stuff, but it's like we're kind of like almost like students, like learners trying to, you know, honestly just pick people's brains and stuff like that, to be honest with you. But I did have a question for you, Jeff.
Okay.
This is going to be not really political, but it's affecting stuff. I know you have like material. You get a bunch of, you know, ink alloy, I believe you said, different steels, aluminums, you know, et cetera.
Yeah. How do the tariffs affect my business?
Yeah. Are you getting your material from other places or?
Vast majority of stuff that we always purchase is coming domestic anyway.
Oh, okay. Is it because of the spec of the client? They have to be, because I think back in the day, I would notice that stuff that's made or for the military has to be from the U.S. or something like that, right?
Yeah, well, we do a lot of things. You know they also have what's called DFARS material, and I feel like an idiot, but for some reason I cannot remember what DFARS stands for. But it either has to be domestic or it has to be DFARS material. DFARS, there's DFARS countries, right? Like Italy would be a DFARS country. This is actually some stuff that we have in the shop right now where it's actually an amusement. And I think that I can say this, but it's actually anyway, we've done stuff in the amusement, you know, for the likes of like Universal Studios. Everything has to be either domestic or DFARS material, to your point. Yeah. Okay. But I guess, are you asking though about tariffs?
Yeah. Like, are you going to affect your pricing? Are you going to start charging more to clients? Obviously, to, you know, there's going to be like a discrepancy, I would assume. Or
yeah. If we start to see like those tariffs start to come in, which we haven't. Okay. Right now, we've seen it elsewhere. We've seen it on some of the tooling that we buy. Like a lot of the tooling that we buy has like diamond coating on there. And I just got told today, you know, right now that's coming out of Germany. So right now with like with Europe, I honestly think that it's still a 20% tariff, but it's only being charged 15%. Luckily, it's not enough for me to make an adjustment right now. It's not enough to make an adjustment on what we're doing. But I do hope that Europe, I know that they've been talking to just do a 0-0 tariff trade.
Okay.
So that's what I'm kind of hoping that we can get to. And to be honest with you, to speak on tariffs in general, I hope that the tariffs is actually just more of a negotiation tactic. Because I don't, and I think that's, for me personally, I think that's what that is. I do think that it's probably going to sting for a minute, but eventually something's got to give. I just hope it's not us. Yeah. And you know, to be honest with you, to bring manufacturing back to U.S. soil, is that a bad thing?
No,
I'm not sure.
To that point, I mean, I think it's job creation. I think that it's something that would be great for our country. Yeah. For me.
It just seems like it's going to be a long-term thing, though. But I think overall, I mean, it could be, you know, the best, I guess, for us.
Yeah, and there's the flip side of the tariffs that one of our customers, we've actually already gotten some POs because they were going to be faced with paying those tariffs. So they brought that back. And so we've already, you know, kind of benefited from that right now.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So there's two sides to that coin, right? But I think that for us, us, it's right now it's been beneficial. It hasn't hindered us. We do have that 15%, like I said, but it's not. And 15% is a lot. I'm not saying that it's not a lot.
Yeah,
I'm saying that the value of that 15% isn't enough for us to make an adjustment for what we do.
Gotcha.
Yet.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
You know. So yeah, and that actually just came out this morning.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, for us, that we were just told that this morning. You know, he actually called me to say, "Hey, this is kind of where we're at, and you know, what do you want to do?" I'm like, you know, for me, I don't really want to change because I already know the product that I'm getting. Yeah. So if we have to pay a little bit more to continue to have the product that we already know is doing well, why do I want to mess with that? I don't want to try and right now. I don't really want to try and find something, and I don't have time to find something to, you know, try and save $6 somewhere, you know, or even collectively say $500, you know,
it's not worth it. Yeah.
Not right now.
Yeah, that makes sense
for us. Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of goes back to the relationship. You have a great relationship with them. They keep bringing you great material. Like why, you know, 15%.
Why change it? Yeah. Why change it? Why change that? You know? So it's not like you know, you can't, you know, get something done, you know, in a timely manner and, you know, it's going to take 6 weeks to, you know, get something in. And so you're going to have to look elsewhere because the person that you want to take it to, I'm looking right at you, actually, you know, because I'm trying to get my truck in. It's just taking a long time.
Bro, get him in, bro.
I'm just doing it. Yeah. I was actually just waiting for him to go, oh, he's talking about himself in the truck again.
Nice.
I just had to give you a hard time.
Yeah.
No, but again, even if, again, the quality of that tool to face that 50%, it really is kind of like minor. Because of the quality. I already know what I'm getting, right? So if I make this relatable with him, if he told me he couldn't get me in until June or July, well, it's going to make things difficult for him because maybe the paint correction is going to be a little bit more difficult, but it's worth the wait because I know the quality that I'm going to be getting out of him. So anyway, to give him, not to make his head bigger, but yeah.
Not to make it any bigger than it is. Yeah.
That was that little hat you got on anyway. It's not going to get any bigger.
Tiny little hat.
It is a cute little hat, though.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. We went to Texas together. And
there you go.
It's funny you brought that up earlier. Like, did you get the same hat?
You guys didn't, did you?
No.
Could have been matching on the plane, man.
Next trip.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Huh. Well, that's good. At least it hasn't affected. I don't think it's going to affect me. I mean, as of right now, I mean, my PPF and Tint is U.S. made. It's one of the few companies that manufactures, you know, tint that's still in the U.S. Everything comes from like Korea or Japan.
Really? And hey, I mean, coming from Korea, I mean, for us, we have that machine. I mean, that's Korean. Korean, you know, Korea and Japan. That's still a great product, but that actually. I'm really glad to hear you say that, though. Yeah. That a lot of, I mean, for us, we try to do everything. We try to keep all our business in the U.S. As much as we can. It's
been the best. I mean, I started working with wrap at first before I started wrapping. I mean, tinting, and the thing was, I would always have trouble with when I was buying this wrap. It was coming from China. Their main headquarters is in China. So if I had any issues, I was emailing them, and it would be till the next day, whatever.
Sure.
And I don't know how, but I had issues with them, and they were overnighting shit, and somehow had to be here within like 2 days, all the way from China. But when I started getting into tints, I'm like, I don't want to deal with the same issue. There was U.S. reps, but I'm like they're going to still have to go back to the main thing, and the main thing's in a whole different country. So I started looking for local U.S. companies, and Eastman is the one who makes Suntech, and they were here in U.S. So I think Virginia. So.
And as far as like a price point for you, are you paying a little bit more for that product?
Yeah. So, and that's why I'm probably the more expensive. I always tell people straight up when they come, because I already know. I mean, and it could be a sales tactic too for some people, or for me, I guess. But I always tell people like it's really expensive, and usually they say, you know, if you tell people it's really expensive and you give them a number and it's maybe not as high as they thought, then they're most likely to do it than to. You give them just a random number because they don't know where it's at. So, but yeah, usually I tell people, I'm like, I'm going to be the more pricier one just because I offer the it is the longest term warranty that you get with. I think I've told you a little bit about this.
Sure.
They're the only manufacturer that warranty their film for 12 years. Nobody else does that. So, but yeah, the cost is a little more. And I always tell them, like, if you want to go a little cheaper, there's this shop and this shop that can do them for you for a little less. And half the time people just go ahead and go through me, but it puts me in a spot where.
You say half the time?
Yeah, probably half the time.
Really?
People go.
Do you let them know that the product you're putting on is manufactured in the U.S.? Because to me, I mean, for me, that's kind of something. For me, that's a good selling point for me.
Yeah, I mean, I never really get into it that much with customers until I had this actually one last month, and he actually ended up booking it out for 3 months later because of the whole thing I was telling you. It was a brand new van that he got, and it was coming right off the train or whatever it comes, boat. And it was getting to him. I'm like, hey, just so you know, I kind of just came across this recently because he was asking about the paint and getting into it. And I was giving a bunch of information that the other guy didn't. So he kind of seen me as more informational than the other guy.
Yeah.
But he's like, this guy told me that he uses this brand, Expel. And he says, it's the best of the best. And I'm like, and I'm really never judge. I'm just like, that's a good deal, dude. Go with him. Usually that's what I tell people if they try to like price me down. Like, oh, well, he said he could do it for $500. I'm like, go for it. Like, it's amazing. But I'm like, well, one thing, that's not a U.S. made brand. It's like a China made brand. And they just got discovered recently that basically they weren't manufactured themselves. They were getting it from a different company. And that's like a whole thing in the tint community that they kind of, consumers don't really ever care about that stuff or will ever know about it. But in the tint community, this brand is known to be like the top tier brand, supposedly. And they got discovered. They weren't even producing their own product. So, but I was telling him this information, and I usually don't, but he was just like, oh, okay, cool. It sounds like that company you're using is going to be a lot better, and the warranty's going to work a lot better with it and stuff. And so he ended up going with it, but he scheduled it out 3 months out.
Yeah.
To let that paint cure. I
didn't know that you had I didn't know it was a 12-year warranty on that.
Yeah. Yeah. He's come back to me, in 12 years after that Ranger, loses all the PPF off of it, and we can get it redone.
Some people don't even keep a car that long.
Nope. No. That's why, like, with
is that warranty transferable?
Well, the way I tell you to keep your name off the paper, technically it is, because you can just get to the next person. It doesn't have your name on it, so. But it's like, that's why Tint.
That's the first thing I did is fill my name out.
Damn it.
Get him another one.
No, Tint's the same thing. It's always lifetime warranty because people will never ever keep their cars, and you see bubbly tint everywhere. It could be from a good manufacturer.
You'll never know. You see some shitty tint.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Like when I warranty like wrap jobs, I warranty them for 3 years myself. That's not even through a manufacturer, just because it's more of the confidence that I put into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for a fact most people don't even keep the cars. So even if I was to have to deal with something in 3 years, that might be 1 out of 10, if there is anything. Most people are just going to end up selling the car or taking the wrap off in a year because they get bored of it. So, but that kind of puts me out in front of everybody else.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, I just feel like your quality and the information, obviously, like that guy. I mean, I think your quality is like what sets you apart. To be honest, for me,
yeah. Information, people like to be informed.
Yeah,
most shops are just, here's what it is, here's the price.
Yeah, and the thing, I feel bad. How long have you been here, by the way?
Still going.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
When did you move into this area?
It was
this building.
2019, November 19.
So I feel terrible because I know I had that one truck and you put the ceramic coating on it and you did some PPS stuff on it too with the Super Duty, but I didn't even know where to go.
Yeah.
Isn't that ironic that I'm literally right here and I didn't even know where to go for tint or anything. And so I went to another place and they did an okay job. I thought they did an okay job.
Yeah, it's good.
And then when I picked it up, it looked fantastic, and you're like, well, there were some things that I think I would have, like I wouldn't have allowed that hair to be in that tint right there. And I'm like, now I'm like, every time I wash that truck, I'm like, oh, there's that damn hair. Goddamn Edgar.
Damn it. Yeah, that wasn't me.
Edgar? No, you're the one that pointed it out.
Yeah.
So it obviously, no.
It's actually Ricardo that I had here. He's like, hey, that's the one thing as like us, when we see other jobs, we like try to find the bad in it.
Oh yeah, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and they're like, oh, look at all this shit they got in here.
Yeah,
like, look at that hair. So that's like first thing that he would always point out, or I point out still sometimes to myself. But
does it happen a lot?
I've gone maybe actually one car that actually left here that it dried up, and then they noticed like there was a hair. And what's shitty is that they were all the way from like, I don't know, somewhere past Provo. Like they fucking live far as shit. But because their cousin or their aunt, somebody recommended them to come here, they made the drive.
Really?
And they had like family that lived close by, so they kind of hung around while I was doing the job. But they actually came back and redid it for them. And but yeah, it doesn't happen too often. Usually, like, you can catch it if there's a hair, you'll see it.
Really?
So
that's one thing that I was just wondering though. Is it not? I mean, not just with you, but does it happen? Do you see?
Yeah, you could.
A lot of cars come in and
with hairs already in them and stuff. Oh yeah. And they see it. They just let it go by.
Really?
Like I said, it's been one that I actually didn't notice it, and it wasn't even a hair. It was like more like I don't know,
little fiber,
shit. Yeah, like a little swirly thing.
Really?
But yeah, usually hairs you'll see right away. Kind of crazy how people just let stuff by, but it's like, yeah.
I don't even think I would have noticed that until you pointed it out.
My bad.
Yeah.
I'll redo it for you.
Yeah. But no, so I think one of the reasons that well, at least for me, and I'm probably speaking for a lot of others, is I think you probably get a lot of repeat customers just through honestly, it just comes to the quality.
Yeah, I hope to think that's what it is. I mean, because I definitely
scheduling sucks.
Scheduling sucks, but when he gets you in, he'll actually do something good. Yeah. No, I think so. I mean, I think that's what, like you said, the customer service and the quality is what's going to make you stand out from people, and working with around them. I have a customer that I go to his house and do his PPF jobs there, and he's willing to pay more, but to him, that's like most shops will be like, absolutely not. Like we need to have a controlled environment. We need to have all the pressure washers in here, and I'll be willing to pack up all my shit and go to his house to do his, new cars that he buys every once in a while that he needs PPF done and stuff. But that's, he loves that. So every time he buys a new car, he's calling me out because
that's service with a smile right there.
Yeah, that's service with a smile.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. So
yeah. But,
yeah, man. Oh, well, that's beautiful. We don't want to keep you too long, Jeff. It's about like 9:20. We've been doing this for about 2 hours and 10 minutes.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So
I thought it was about 8.
You can say it's 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know. I always feel bad because I'm not sure if you guys wake up at 3 and have like a whole morning routine or what. But.
Yeah, I don't sleep that much anyway. It's no big deal to me, man.
Same.
Yeah, see what I mean? Yeah. I don't sleep that much anyway. If I get 4 or 5 hours, I'd be like, that's pretty solid. Good.
That's wild,
good.
Yeah. My eyes been twitching for the last 2 weeks. Not enough sleep. So we're good. Yeah. But no, I don't know. You got anything else, Alex?
Well, shit, we always have questions in the thing. I was just going to ask, do you have a routine, or I'm assuming it's a business owner, it's probably hectic. It's probably, you can't really have a routine, can you?
That's probably been one of my biggest things that I've been trying to create. I'm very routine. I'm a very routine person. I should say I always was a very routine person, and anything out of my routine can like get me, a little like annoyed.
Gotcha.
But I'm trying to get back into that, and it has been very, very hard for me. Normally, I like to wake up, hit the gym, work out, try it, but I don't do, obviously, I don't do that anymore.
Oh, come on, yo. Shit.
Yeah. So no, I used to be a very routine person. I'm a morning person too.
Okay.
But I don't do what I like to do anymore, like in as far as routine. I try, but if I could, I think that would actually help and change a lot. My problem is when I'm up, I feel like my mind is it's going already. So there's just certain things that I need to just start getting done. Like why do I want to do this when I should be doing. I always feel like I should be doing something else. And to be honest, that's something that I need to break that habit. I mean, I think 1 hour a day, 1 hour a day doing something for yourself. I think it's extremely beneficial. So I'm actually, it's funny you asked that, because I'm in the process of trying to get back into that right now.
Oh, hell yeah.
I've been doing that for about 5 years now, I would say, trying to get back into that routine.
How's that going?
It's not very well. Not very well.
It's tough. Well, I mean, I try to tell Alex too. I mean, I always want to have I always think I have a grasp of things until you wake up. And then it's like, well, shit, all that I had planned is just out the door now. Because you wake up to a certain message, or you wake up to a certain issue, and then it just throws everything off. But
yeah, so now you can't take that time, especially for me. I think that, to be honest, I think this is going to open up a can of worms, but I feel like one of the biggest problems that we have in today's society right now is our cell phones.
Yeah.
Everything, you know what I mean? Notifications are a problem. And for me, trying to ignore it is very hard, especially if it comes to the business, right? It's very hard for me to ignore that stuff. So you get those messages, like you're saying, either a text message, email. It's something that makes me feel like, oh, I'll hurry and just, do this. And, and that's actually funny. One thing that I've always wanted to have is to have kind of my own gym equipment. And we actually, I don't remember the last time that you were over there, but we actually have, I think it's pretty nice, but a nice little setup over there.
What?
Yeah. So, which is good for the employees too, for anybody that, if,
in that lunchroom area, or out in the shop?
No, we put it out in the shop. Yeah. There's probably,
is that where that plasma cutter was at over there?
No. It's next to the office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but no, that's something that I thought this is ideal, right? This is going to be perfect. I have zero excuse. And so
I could walk by it every day.
Yeah. So now, like that was no excuses. I'm gonna get back into down to fighting weight here, and down to fighting weight here.
There you go.
And what ends up happening is sometimes I'll get there at like 6:30 in the morning, and I'm always telling myself, just get it done. Just get it done. And I get about 15 minutes in, and all of a sudden, taking a 45-second rest or something between sets, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, just hurry and like do this to get prepared, and then that's done, and and then all of a sudden I'm 30 minutes into just sitting in the office. Damn. My watch is going, are you done with your workout? I'm like, shit, I guess I am now. I'm already into this. I'll hurry and run home, and I'll just run home and shower. So I do think, but to answer the question, no, I kind of have a routine. Unfortunately, it's not fulfilling to the point that it needs to be. Mm-hmm. But I do think that having a morning routine or a night routine or taking an hour for yourself at any point in the day, and I think physical activity, I think working out is probably the most beneficial thing that we can do for ourselves. I really do think that it helps set the stage for a lot of things, but I think it's extremely critical and extremely important. I think it definitely helps in many ways, but man, it's for me, where in the position I'm in, and you'll probably agree, it's so much easier said than done.
Yeah, I've been trying to do this get like in the fitness. I used to, believe it or not, go to the gym somewhat consistently for probably 2 years.
I did the same thing, man.
And kind of started after 2 years. I think it just started going to shit. It'd be like randomly a couple days a week, and then once a month, and then twice a month, and then it's just always been hard to work it in with this, because the same thing, like you said, is just you tinker off to do something else, or you're just on your phone, and you just have like almost like a guilt kind of thing where like you should just be doing this instead of working out. And it's easier said than done, like you say too, because I try to tell people and they're just like, oh, you can do it, and it's weird because people always say like you could always make time for things, like you can always
owning your own business, you can make time for things.
No, just like like if something like, let's say, you know, you have a wife, you have kids, like you can make time for them. Like, you know, if it's a priority. And same thing with like this, if I really want to make it a priority, I should be able to make time for it, but yet I don't. So you can even feel like more shitty when you don't.
Yeah.
And you know, and this is speaking about just working out, I guess, but it could be with many things.
Yeah. But it is important. We need to get to a point where all of us, if you have a morning routine, do you have a morning routine?
No, I just crawl out of bed in my underwear and start going on the computer. I ain't gonna lie.
Okay, see, so, but taking an hour doing your thing, right? I think, and at least an hour, I think is, you know, you got to do it. I used to, man, I worked out all the time. I mean, this is a long time ago. But yeah, I mean, I competed in a bodybuilding show.
Oh shit!
Years ago.
4 years ago.
6 years ago. No, but I used to always think to myself, like, it's always going to be a part of my life. Mm-hmm. It's like working out will always be a part of my life. And I used to always have, I shouldn't say always, but frequently I got asked, you know, like, man, how do you do it? Or how do you do this? Or how do you do that? Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I used to always tell them was just, hey, just consistency. I mean, from the time I was 20, it was just consistency. And to be honest, I still believe that. The hard thing is creating that consistency, especially being a business owner, because I feel like there's always something that you can do, always. Yeah. So I'm still trying. And Aaron's there in the morning as well, and he's usually getting the shop going, whereas here I am, like thinking I'm going to work out, and if I like, there's always something where I'm like, hey, I just wanted to, and then, you know, I'm trying to talk to him, and it's like I'm 15 minutes into a. Lately, it's been a bitch session, but I'm 15 minutes down a bitch trail, bitching about some just stupid shit, and then it just kind of I can very easily talk myself. I used to I can talk myself out of a workout easier than I can talk myself into it, and it used to be opposite for me. Mm. It was very opposite for me, you know.
So that's how you are right now, right?
Yeah,
you can. It'd be really hard to talk yourself out of a workout just because it's so like such a routine to you.
I just feel like a piece of shit if I don't do it. But I could see it on the other end of you guys. It's like the business owner becomes your guys' gym. So if you're not on top of the business, then kind of everything kind of almost falls apart, because that's like like your guys' like livelihood in a sense, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But I think things don't fall apart. That's just what we tell ourselves. That things are going to fall apart. Mm-hmm. You know, for me, I feel like if I don't respond to somebody within, 20 to 30 minutes, I'm not doing my part.
Yeah.
You know, and that's been the hardest thing for me to shake. I don't know how to shake that. I don't.
Yeah. That's like with me with deadlines. Like if I try to tell people, because I put myself in their shoes. Like if I drop my car off somewhere, I want to be told, hey, it's going to be done in 2 days, and I want to expect it to be done in 2 days. So when I have somebody that comes in, I'm like, hey, it's going to be like 2 weeks or a week on your car wrapping it. That's like my thing, and that's what kills me, because I'm just like, I got to get that thing done. Mm-hmm.
No, I get that.
Do you ever deal with that whenever you have to like?
That's my life.
Yeah. So yeah, see, it's like
that's my life. I mean, yeah, we have customers though that. Speaking of micromanaging, hope you guys aren't listening.
Hope you guys aren't listening.
But yeah, we might have a due date that's 2-3 weeks away. We might have a due date that's 2 or 3 weeks away, and they're contacting me. Hey, is this still on track? It's like, man, you don't even give me an opportunity to like disappoint you. Yeah. The reason I don't like others micromanaging me is I do a very fine job of it all on my own. Mm-hmm. With stuff like what you're just saying. The reason you're here till 4 a.m. is because you're meeting a deadline.
Exactly.
And every time you're doing that, you're probably telling yourself, man, I got to get a little bit more efficient with this, or just push it out. And if they don't want to wait 4 days, then I guess then that's okay. Yeah. And then and then you get through it. And you're like, shit, that wasn't that bad. And then the next time it rolls around, you do it again.
It's fucked. Yeah,
yeah, you do it again because, that's business. You don't want to lose business. You don't want to. I think a lot of it too has to come down to being a high performer and not wanting to disappoint.
No, yeah, I couldn't have said it better. Yeah, that's literally what it is. I feel like you don't want to disappoint the customer, and you want to meet your expectations. So
yeah, but then I came across a quote a while ago, and it really hit home for me, and will probably hit harder for you, down the road. But it just said the only people in 20 years that are going to remember that you worked late, sent emails late, is going to be your kids.
Damn.
Yeah, I've seen that quote.
Which is 100% true.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird that I'm even saying another quote here because I'm not like big on quotes.
Yeah.
But I actually have two more. One I actually heard today, which to me really hit me too. But like overadvertently independent people are overadvertently independent as a defense mechanism from being let down too many times. Right? And I read a book 20 something years ago. And it said that most people miss out on success because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work. And that, for whatever reason, has stuck with me for 20 years or longer, 25 years. So sidetrack there, but to get back to this, I think, honestly, man, like we got to figure out a way to have our own time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, to me, it sounds like it's just saying no.
That's hard.
I think that's the answer, though.
Yeah.
But it's all like the same thing. It's like, how bad do you really want it? With.
I feel like for me, I'm even saying no. Just yesterday, hey, I'm not going to be able to get that in that amount of time. This is probably more of where we're going to be at. Oh, we'll just quote it out anyway. Okay, we'll quote it out anyway. But even trying to say no for me, and even when I finally do go, okay, I'm gonna do it. I've even got myself geared up. I'm gonna say no.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna take the weekend off. And no one's going to be here, and we're going to take the weekend off. No, we're not going to do that. And somehow I find myself being there on the weekend, doing the same thing. And I don't know.
Yeah, he's seen this a lot of times where we plan to go out on a weekend to Salt Lake or something, and I plan ahead for it, where I'm not going to work that whole weekend. I'm just going to hang out, recover from a weekend out.
Yeah.
And then I tell him, like, I got to go back in tomorrow, man, like on Sunday or something. Like, I got to go finish something I didn't finish. And it's just, it never pans out to be how you want it. It's just.
And it's cyclical. Yeah. It really is. Okay, I'm not doing this shit anymore. That for me, that was the big thing was in 23. December of 23. I remember telling my wife, I said, hey, like this is, and I even felt like I was going through like a change. Like I'm a brand new man. I'm gonna get into shape, right? And,
new year, new me.
Yeah, exactly. And I even told myself and told my wife, and then after I had a conversation with her about this, I told her the same thing, and it was. This March will be 10 years that's 10 years that we've been in business. That's enough to instill integrity and trust into our customers that, it's going to be, I'm going to be a lot better with the scheduling. I'm going to be a lot better at saying no. I'm going to be a lot better at doing this. And I'm not kidding you. January 2 rolls around and that was probably last spring. Probably till June. That was probably some of the hardest months out of the last 11 years. It was. Wow. Yeah. I thought for sure I thought for sure I was going to end up just like like a pigeon just croaked. Just croaked over. Yeah, seriously. Because it's I take a lot of this stuff kind of personal. And I feel like my word is I'm kind of old school in the way of like saying like a handshake's a contract type.
Mm-hmm.
So I take a lot of that. Take a lot of that to heart. But one thing I will say is I'm always trying to be better, which is good for you guys, because if you don't like me today, there's always tomorrow. You might like me tomorrow.
There's always
trying
tomorrow.
to be better.
Yeah. That's a fact.
Yeah, I'm always trying to be better. So
I mean, that's all we can do, right? I mean, just try again tomorrow.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. Yeah. Do you ever wake up stewing about stuff? Stupid shit?
Typically, yeah, it's just the I got to get the shit done. Yeah. I've had a car here for 3 days. I haven't even touched that. Got dropped off to start rapping on it, and still working on the other one, and got the other one torn apart. And so I just wake up and it's just like, fuck, all right, get back, shower, get ready, go to work. Like I start working, I'm like, oh fuck, I got those 2 emails I got to respond, not emails, but messages I got to respond back to, quotes on pricing.
Sure.
Just to let them know I'm 2 months out, so it's half the time they're not even going to go through with it because it's too far out. So yeah, so that's kind of my biggest thing, is always the deadlines, and there's always shit needs to be done. In the slow time, though, in the winter, it's fine. I wake up, come in, cool, I'm going to clean the shop, have time. But then you start studying about different problems, which is, shit, when are we getting people through the door?
Right.
Because it's slower. So there's always something.
Yeah.
It just depends, I guess, the season. And
no, and for me, I feel like, I mean, if I had my druthers, I'd rather take having too much work than not enough, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that I feel like is I feel like I've been in like survival mode for 11 years.
Don't tell me that. I feel like I've been like that for a minute, so it's just going to
doesn't go away, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not sounding good for you. Alex is like, fuck, I never want to open business.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. No, I think the obviously it's a different type of stress. Like you're going to have stress, you're going to have shit, you're going to have whatever. It's a different type of stress, but I definitely think that the benefits far outweigh the stress. I think the stress is worth it, but I do feel like it's if we don't learn to manage it better, I definitely think it's probably going to take some years off our life that we may not ever get back.
No, I think it is. I mean, it's already showing on me with all my gray hairs. My barber likes to tell me every time, like, hey, there's a few more gray hairs. Every time I go in for a haircut. So, but yeah, no, I think there's
God, gray hairs, huh?
Gray hair, huh?
Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't know about that. I really went gray the last like 6 years for sure.
Yeah, really?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But would you say it's because of like all the business stress and all that? You think it's just aging? I mean, I feel like
is this just another old joke?
No.
I mean, earlier when we got started, you were saying these Santa jokes, like a fat joke. Now it's just an old fat joke. Is that what this is?
Oh man, no.
Did you bring me on here just to insult me?
Nope, the camera's not even rolling.
Huh?
So the camera's not even rolling. No, I'm just kidding. No.
I feel like you're just bringing me on here to insult me.
I feel like definitely the stress definitely does take life away from you, though. I mean, I'm still, I guess, feel like new into it. I really don't know yet, but I just heard from my parents, my dad. It's like that shit will take some years off of you. And I've heard from other people too that have big companies, like just because you see me with, the nice homes and nice cars, my health, I might look healthy, but mentally I'm completely fucked because, there's more money, more problems kind of thing, so.
That's something too, for me, that a lot of people, if they see, a new car or home or, whatever, the one thing that really, for some reason, it just kind of rubs me wrong, but it's must be nice. Yeah, it must be nice working, 14 hours a day, 16 hours a day, stressing, not sleeping, panic attacks in a sense. Yeah, all that shit must be nice. But people just see what they see. And, and to be honest with you, that's probably only like 5% of what's really going on.
Yeah.
For me anyway. I remember, this is probably not a story that, it's a good story, but it makes me kind of look like I don't know, maybe like a little bitch, but in 2018, I actually, so my wife is, I've got an amazing wife, right? She's just I could marry a million times over and not be as lucky as I am right now type, right? I mean, supportive, always there for me. Never has a problem telling me that I might be in the wrong. Which really in the moment sometimes can suck like shit, but usually she's definitely can see things a lot more rationally. And one day she actually said to me, she's like, we ought to go and look at like new trucks. You ought to get a new truck. And I was like, I ain't gonna get a new truck, because I've been looking for 6 months. I think I built the same 6 different colored trucks, right? Probably every single day, and I'm not shitting you, for 6 months, 7 months. Oh yeah, oh yeah. And I says, I don't even need a salesman. I already know what I want. I know that I'm not strong enough to go down there and not walk away. Even with a truck we probably can't afford. I'm not doing it. She's like, okay. So a week goes by, because like it's just like anything else she says, it's just this word worm in my brain. Just doing. So the next weekend I go, we ought to go look at some trucks. And she goes, okay. Like, and she's like even allowing me to act like it was my idea anyway. Yeah. But we went down, and there was a truck. It actually had 5,000 miles on it. But it was new, right? And I drove I talk about like humbling in a sense, like beginnings. But it was a weird thing for me to buy even a new truck. And I actually bought it from Westland, and pulling out. So I get in this truck, I'm driving home, and I got emotional because it was a very small token that the business in a sense was working. Yep. And I actually to start the business, I tried to do everything to not borrow money from anybody or anything, and went through a bunch of rabbit holes, and finally called my grandparents, and I actually borrowed $50,000 from my grandparents, and I went down there to ask my grandpa for to borrow the money, and I went down there, and he looked at me, and all he said was, "Is it gonna work, boy?" And I remember without hesitation, I'm like, yeah, but like as I'm saying yes,
you're like, it's gotta work.
I'm like trying to like see if I can't pull those words back, and so. And my grandpa had passed away, about 10 months prior to me getting that truck. And for some reason, I just thought of him. And it was kind of like, and for me, it was like, it's working, Gramps, it's working. And, and without him, without my grandma, without my wife, I mean, it never would have started. We'd never be where we are.
That's some real stuff.
Yeah.
Shout out. Yeah. We need those. We never talk about, what we have at home, that basically
the pillars.
Yeah, the pillars, what we have home to kind of help us keep our shit together in a way, because if we didn't have like you're saying, it's the pillars, it's the root of the whole thing.
Yeah, well, that's the real support system, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's what you go back to. Yeah, so
yeah, and for me, I feel really bad for my wife, because like I said, if I take a long way home, it's 6 minutes to get there, right?
Yeah.
And I always get like, I always come home and she's always just happy. Right.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like she wants to ask me about how the day is. And for me, I'm just like, I don't even want to talk. I'm 5 minutes away from, being out of it. And so
started walking there.
And she's always asking me, like how the day is. She finally starts to get stuff out of me. And next thing you know, I'm 20 minutes into it, like ranting, and she's just sitting there listening. And I'm just looking at her, and here I am. I get my blood pressure going again, And she's just like, "What? I mean, don't you feel better?" And I'm like, "No, not really. I think I need to drive to fucking Tremont and
then come back
by myself, and then come home." Like I feel like, and she's like, "Well, maybe you could do that. Maybe that's a good idea.
Maybe start taking a scooter home or something."
Wow, I need to walk. Is this another fat joke?
No.
Holy shit.
Hey, you got yourself into this one.
No, man, you're the one over here.
All right, fine. Drive a tree long. Waste more gas.
Hey, man, you know what? To be honest with you, Jeff, a walk wouldn't hurt.
Shit.
It looks like you drank your way in. You can walk your way out.
Hey, you walked over here. That's a start. No.
That is true. That is true.
No, but I get what you mean, though. My girlfriend's like amazing in that way too, where I go home and she's such like a jolly person, like just to begin with, always giggling stuff. And I get home and there's never like anything. I never try to bring this home. So, because I've heard from people, don't bring your work shit into home. But sometimes I guess it is good to talk to someone about it, because me, myself, I don't fucking got no one other than Alex every Wednesday, or whoever walks in the door sometimes. But yeah, it's, yeah, sometimes it is kind of hard to, I guess, be always, come home and be happy, I guess, in a way too. Because sometimes you're just stuck with you're still with all the other problems still.
Yeah. Well, and you said something there where to me, it's like, I feel like my wife or people around me will probably strongly disagree, but I do feel like, for the most part, 98% of me, I'm happy. Mm-hmm. I'm stressing about the shit that I need to get done or can't get done, or, if there were, 26 hours a day sometimes isn't enough, mm-hmm. Most of the time isn't enough. And so, for the most part, I feel like I'm generally always happy. I probably vent too much about things that make me sound like I'm just a miserable ass person. In fact, speaking of that, my wife actually started calling me GOM. GOM, for grumpy old man. You're just a grumpy old man. She's like, you are, I think it was 2-3 weeks ago. She said, you're actually, more often than not, you're grumpy than you are happy. And I thought, man, I can't believe, she's the one that always like doesn't have a problem telling me, mm-hmm. She doesn't have a problem telling me I'm in the wrong, even with some other situation. Yeah. She doesn't have a problem telling me I'm in the wrong, which is good.
Which is good though, yeah. Because you need the, what would you call it? Like
the yin and yang, really.
Yeah. You can't just have someone always be on your side and telling you what you want to hear.
Hell no.
I don't know that. I don't know anybody that wants that. Nah. I don't want that.
Well, there's certain people that do want that, but definitely not us. Yeah.
I don't want
I want to know what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah.
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 I'm trying to fix some shit. So.
Yeah. Schedule.
Scheduling.
No.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I don't want anybody I don't want anybody just around me to agree with me just to agree with me. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't have a problem with like saying, again, that's where some of this growth happens anyway. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Somebody say just another perspective or understanding a different perspective. Yeah.
Do you have a hard time with the confrontation? Like confronting people with their bullshit or something? Okay. I feel like that's probably one of our weakest links, to be honest. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, nobody likes it. I don't enjoy it, but a lot of times.
Do you feel good about it?
Oh man, I'm just a bully, really.
I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, oh man. Oh jeez, I got a bone to pick with you. I've been being nice about this for a while. No, I definitely don't. I don't like it, but a lot of times it has to happen.
Yeah, that's good.
I think it has to happen.
Have you always had that, or did that come with like your other previous job where you were kind of like managing, or not? I don't know if you were managing, but I guess maybe, or they come with a business, I guess.
No, I don't know. I think I've always kind of more or less been like that. But I also don't feel like if I have to get involved with some confrontation, it's got to be something really serious that, or it's got to be a serious matter. I can't just, I don't want to be that person that's just constantly confrontational for no reason. There's got to be a good reason behind it.
To be necessary.
Yeah, for sure.
I get you.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys have a hard time bringing it up or being involved in it? Because that's two different things.
I feel like for me, it was, I don't know. I just would avoid it at all costs. But then I started realizing, yo, this is actually more destructive than actually confronting people. Like, because you're not telling them what's wrong. So you're going to keep growing some sort of resentment towards this person because they don't know what's wrong. Like, you got to tell them. You got to communicate this. So I guess for me, it was just, I just avoided it like the plague. I'm not sure if it was my personality or me just growing introverted or I don't know what it was. But now that I'm, I guess, older, I still obviously don't enjoy it, but I do understand that it is necessary. So.
Productive, really.
Yeah. Facts.
You know, I mean, there's some people though that are just never going to understand your side of things, or, and you know who those people are and aren't. You know, but you can't. But the thing is, when we say about like when we bring up confrontation, I don't, like I said, I don't go around and just, you know, with stupid, just. Like every little annoyance is just, you know, you're just popping off, you know, saying something, you know, is it, you know, it can also be constructive at the same time. And I think that's true. That's the, sometimes for me, that's the hard part, trying to word that into a way to be constructive, you know, because a lot of times I can go from like 0 to 10, like that. And, that's never good.
Never ends out good.
No, it never ends well. No, but yeah.
Huh. Yeah, so. I think for me, I think just kind of what Alex said. It's kind of been always kind of been the more intimate, not intimate, but not really a social person, I guess you would say. So.
You?
Yeah. I feel like I'm really quiet, very. What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, introverted.
Yeah, introverted. I've become a lot better. But I think what put me here is when I started becoming when I worked at the body shop, they started putting me up front because I was cross-trained with everything there. I mean, if I wanted to, I could run the shop if I wanted to. Not literally, right? But I knew how to estimate. I knew how to do body work. I knew if I needed to paint, I knew how to paint. Like if I needed to wash the car at the very end, it can be done. So, but once they started putting me in the front, I started talking to people more. And then that was always, it was fucking awkward at first, but from there, I kind of gained more of a skill, right? To just talk to people.
Yeah. Confidence.
Yeah, confidence. Because back before that, I mean, I was just working at an auto leaf, just a factory job, or just fucking warehouse by yourself.
Yeah.
Forklifting. So you just get told what to do. But yeah.
Yeah. So something, I mean, I haven't always been, something for me, I haven't always just been super easy to talk with people, but what's weird is sometimes talking in front of people used to make me nervous, but for some odd reason, talking actually like kind of calmed me down. You know, because I used to always think, you know, you could probably find two just completely random people and you know, sit them down, have them start talking. They can probably find something that they have in common that you can start to build like a conversation off of. So I think for me, it was always, you know, when I was younger, it was, what do I have in common, or what can I find that we have in common to build on and start to talk talk that way, right? Start to build that conversation that way. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're the one that told me you have an old I don't know if it was you actually, but did you say you have not an old soul, but an old something old?
I definitely have an old soul for sure. I would say I should have been born I feel like I should have been born in the 30s.
Not even 30s? I don't know if that's how you worded it. I don't know if it was you that told me this actually. Like you have an old, basically a way of like thinking or being. I don't know, maybe it wasn't you that actually told me that, but I feel like that came from working around older people with body shop and stuff. Because some people always ask me like, "What the fuck?" Like you talk like you don't talk like if you were, I don't know, your age, I guess you would say, especially back then.
Well, you're definitely more mature for sure.
Yeah, so I
would say.
Well, I'm getting old, so.
Don't say that.
We did discuss the gray hair.
I just age a little better. You were saying last time.
No, I think I do think that, and I don't know if I said something like that. I don't, but I definitely agree with whoever said that.
Yeah.
I agree with them. I feel like I'm definitely more of like an old an old soul. I always kind of got along better with older people. I mean, I get along with my own age too, right? But and younger, obviously. But that's just. But I just feel like I've always been a little bit more older soul.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
No, I actually do appreciate that because I feel like a lot of older people sometimes kind of look down on like younger people for some reason. So
no, I don't.
Strange thing, so.
I don't really think I look down on them. I think
He said, well,
no, I'm trying to say, like, I don't care what your age is. I think that depending on what your actions are is going to probably have me. I'm not going to look down, but it's going to make me. What the hell?
No, I get you.
Did you see that?
What the hell is going on over
there?
Yeah. But no, I definitely I try to. I don't know.
No, I
do
get
my best to try and get along.
Yeah,
with everybody.
But you're like pretty open minded though. Like, you definitely came on without knowing too much. But even like other people, like when I was growing up, and I don't know, went to the gym or worked at a factory as well. Like I just felt like I don't know, older people are just either feel like they can have like relate to me, or maybe we just felt like I don't know, they're there and I'm just some new person. I don't know what it was necessarily. So that's something I kind of try to work on. I'm like, oh, there's some younger people at the gym or something, go say what's up, because I was on the other end and I don't know. I didn't really feel that welcome, if that makes sense.
Oh, really? When you were younger, you didn't feel welcome?
Yeah, exactly. So,
oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. And usually it's from older people. So that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
like,
really?
Not you. I'm not talking about you specifically. Yeah, you're one of the good ones. So
am I old?
Nah, you're just older than us. That's it.
You guys call me old, fat. You've called me fat 3 times.
He did. He got it. Yeah, come on, man.
Hey, you can call me whatever you want.
Well, the truth hurts me is what I'm saying. So
I didn't mean it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that.
You know what? I'm gonna end up with a picture of you in the shop at the gym where I can throw darts at it.
Say punch it every day.
Yeah, son of a bitch.
Oh shit.
Oh man, I am sore. I need to not do this. And I see Edgar over there.
Never mind.
Hey, fat ass.
Oh shit, another 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Shit, I'm gonna come over there and start working out with you. That's always been a dream. To me and Alex is like, he's been obviously really consistent with the gym. Since he was like, you got into it when you were like 18, probably kind of got into it, right, by someone.
That's when I started. Yeah.
And you've stayed pretty, to me, consistent throughout all these years. But
I try.
I've always wanted to do like a gym. Even that third bay I had was always like, that'd be cool if I could have a gym, but it just doesn't make sense. The amount of money you spend on the equipment, and most likely it'd probably just be for me and a few other people, and I don't think it'd make sense. It wouldn't pay itself even off. So, but my overall one goal one day would be have like a huge shop where we have like a lounge plus a gym, so you can even like work out while your car's getting some like some tint done or something like that. Or
you mean for clients?
Yeah.
Oh, a gym for clients,
almost like a membership kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
But I'll just have like everything all in one. There's a shop out in England somewhere that I see and that has that kind of built in, and it's like the whole shop's tile, like it's top tier. Wow, it's nice. I have to show you.
That'd be cool.
But it's got like a whole lounge in the front with cigar lounge and coffee lounge, and you can imagine the cars that are there too. It's just Ferraris and all kinds of stuff that's out there. But that's pretty cool though. Yeah, you got to integrate that into you guys' shop and for your guys, because that's huge for.
Yeah, and and selfishly, I just I kind of got everything that I wanted. But if it benefits everybody else, then great. But no, it's something cool. I think it's I don't know. I feel like it's something cool for the people that we work with to have that opportunity, whether they take advantage or not. It's there. Again, you want to try and make it so everybody feels like they're part of something bigger than just a job or just a paycheck.
Yeah, it's more than just a job. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Well, and it is. Kind of have it more of a lifestyle or an experience to be there. And
it's your second home technically.
100%. I mean, I think a lot of times I probably spend more. Well, I've spent more time with Erin than I have my own wife.
Yeah, true,
which is true. Because a lot of times I just go home, crawl in bed, and wake up and do it all over again.
The same.
You guys know how it is,
Yeah. And my girlfriend's a nurse, so sometimes she's working all night. So I get home, she's not even home already. She's already gone at work. She works nights. So, and then I get home and she crawls into bed and I get out and go to work. So it's like, sometimes it's like that for a week, a couple of days. And
well, see, and I can see how for you, it would even be more reason to just stay and do something here. Well, you can go home.
Yeah.
She's gone already.
Yeah, I use that excuse all the time.
I bet. I can see that, yeah.
People always tell me, like, oh, you're going to get divorced before you're married, you know? Like, can't happen, right? If I'm not married. But I'm like, no, I'm like, she works nights, and it's like, what am I going to be doing at home? And I honestly go kind of crazy. I mean, I can only watch so much YouTube before I'm like, the fuck you do around the house, you know?
Yeah.
Like, everything's kind of tidied up. But yeah, my excuse is that she's going back to school for another 3 years. So after that, we plan on having a family and stuff. So I'm like, I got another 3 years to slave myself away here, you know, just be here, giving it my all to hopefully, I don't know, at least become a little less stressful on myself.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I mean, so in 3 years, that'll be 3 years, that'll be 9 years. And if you guys started to have a family right then, right, you're probably another 10 months to a year before you have a child, but that puts you at that 10-year mark.
That's facts.
So that ends up putting you right there at that 10-year mark. And if I could tell you anything, it would start to figure out now how you're going to be able to spend more time with your family. Mm-hmm. You got 4 years to figure that out.
Yeah. Literally, yeah.
Because I wouldn't want you to do. I've missed a lot of things, you know.
Yeah, and I'm really aware of how much I'm gonna miss if I'm doing this the way I'm doing it right now when I have a child, because I won't be home. You know, the good thing is that I am a business owner, so I could bring the bouncer and have the kid here, you know, in a way. But that's not what it's about. It's not the same though. No, you need to be doing other stuff than just kid watching you how to work.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And, you know, I actually, man, I coached the kids playing, you know, basketball, playing soccer. Sometimes it was the same time. So I'd have, obviously they'd be playing not at the same times, but, you know, during the same season. So you'd have practice Tuesday, Wednesday or whatever, and then 2 games. And man, I remember, leaving work, hurry and go coach for an hour and a half, go back to work. And then the next day, coach the different team for an hour and a half, and then get up, go to work on Saturday, go and leave work, go coach this game, come back to work, go coach the other game, come back to work. And, you know, and it's worked. It's worked. Mm-hmm. Figure out how to not do that.
Yeah, I got some time, right? So, but yeah, I got to definitely figure that out. And like you said, 3 or 4 years. Yeah. That's if, we don't end up having a kid before that. So
that's life.
Fornicators?
Fornicators.
Jeez. Is that what you're telling me? You guys are gross.
Disgusting. Oh, jeez.
Unreal. Unreal. I thought I heard it all. Unreal.
What podcast am I even on? Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, yeah, I think that's, I think we should call it there. I mean,
good.
That camera quit rolling already because we're out of memory on it. So I think we still got your beautiful face on that one. So, but yeah, I think that's a good end for episode
110.
110.
Yeah, 110. Thank you for being a part of the journry. 100%. That was an amazing conversation, and if you're down, we'll be more than happy to have you back.
Honestly, I'll definitely be back if you guys wanted me to be back. So I appreciate you guys even asking. Yeah. So it's been a good time.
Awesome.
It's been a great time. Thank you guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
Appreciate you as well.
Yep.
All right. That's it.
Okay.
So.
All right, y'all. Deuces. We'll see you on the next one.
See ya.